This episode of Limit Break Radio is made possible by our generous Patreon donors, including Theron Kadeen of Hyperion, Mason Raid of Balmung, Zoe Daybreaker of Sargatanis. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/limitbreakradio.
Live from Eorzea.
Limit Break with your hosts, Nero.
Those racist teenagers online are gonna butt ram me.
Kahlo.
That's my shib.
Juxtaposition.
Yay!
Ascalia.
Who are you calling drunk? You're not drunk, I'm drunk.
And Nika.
What is happening?
LimitBreakRadio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio.
To Limit Break Radio!
The Limit Break Radio!
Oh my god, we get it, you're here.
But no, we haven't done Waterfall in a while. And
I know, and why do I always end
Ascalia
it?
and Nika fucked up again, as always.
I'm a little out of the loop. It's been a while. Sorry.
Do you forget how to LBR?
Do you even LBR, bro?
It's not like riding a bicycle. You do forget.
You try to forget, but that shit's like ingrained in there.
Every time I leave, Kahlo, I try to forget about you.
Exactly, but you know what?
At everything.
It's like that one fateful trip to the confessionary. That one time you try to forget, but no matter how hard you try, it's just always there in the back of your... What?
Wait, what are you talking
Kahlo, is there
about?
something you
Why are
need to
looking
tell
at
us
me like
about?
that? No, I don't go to church. Stop it.
Not anymore, apparently.
Nero, intro.
Which is clear by you calling it a confessionary. I don't think that's what it's called.
Confessional?
You just go to
There we go.
there you go.
That thing.
There you go.
It's evil. Stay away.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio. Thank you for joining us, and we are going to call you the loyal listeners of Limit Break Radio because you guys are going to stick with us through this brutal 7-week wait. You guys are probably sticking. I hope you're sticking with Final Fantasy XIV through this 7-week wait.
Come on, I
dude,
hear,
it's going to be brutal.
I hear 7 weeks isn't that bad. We have time to play other games now.
Oh yeah.
Clearly, that's what's happening. Like, is there anyone left online?
Right.
Vanadil has more people
Because
in it right now.
I think that was
God.
that was Yoshi P's intention. Be like, you know what? Let's give them a little while. They got some other games that they want to
They
clear
have
out
to
of the
play
way.
Metal Gear.
Yeah, Yoshi P is a Metal Gear fan. He's like, I got it. I know how I can get some time off.
Oh, dude, it's depressing. It is depressing. So, yeah, we've got this big 7-week wait where we're just capping tomes. That's pretty capping tomes,
We are?
buying
Are we
time,
supposed to be
grinding
doing that?
savage. That's
Hey,
all people are doing.
It's all about that tome life.
Oh my god.
Hold on.
Ugh.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
6
oh
weeks
yeah,
now.
you're right. It is. Yeah, it's 6 weeks now.
The
Yeah.
LBR countdown.
The LBR countdown to 3.1
That's
has
gonna be
officially started.
That's our episode titles from here on out. 7, 6, 5, 4.
Oh man.
People are going to go back through our archives years from now, just like, what were they counting down
yeah,
to? Like,
yeah,
what's the big
exactly.
reveal? It's like, oh, a patch came out.
Exactly, yeah. So we are, of course, live from Eorzea. Let's kick it over to our studios. And yes, our studios are back in full form today. Everyone is back. We got a full house, a full cast, and it's a doubly exciting day because when we wrap up episode number 32 here, we're going to take a small break, and then we're going to come back with the third episode of Final Encountercast. So if you're listening and, hey, maybe this is the first time you're ever checking out Limit Break Radio, you like what we do, you dig the vibe that we're putting down, you want to listen.
And you don't have a life.
You want to listen to us talk about some video games. Well, we're gonna have some of that coming up later at around 6 o'clock. But of course, we are here to talk about Final Fantasy XIV, even though there's really not all that much to talk about, let's be honest.
Fortunately for all our fans and all of our listeners, coming up with bullshit to talk about is what we do best.
It's our forte.
Yeah, that is true.
That and dick jokes.
Well,
And my teacher said that would never pay off.
Well, I mean, he also said I used math, but I don't. So
we are all still sort of living in squalor. So
well,
they might have had a
maybe
point.
he was right.
yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess that's fair. All right. So let's check out what's going on in terms of Final Fantasy XIV news.
Well, that was a good segment.
This is a limit-breaking news update.
Oh my God, Ascalia! What the fuck? Are you? I know you haven't been here, but Jesus, way to step all over that.
When did
Jesus,
we?
did you
Holy
even try?
God, what the fuck?
When did we debut that segment?
3 weeks ago.
Well,
okay, the first one I wasn't here.
Yeah.
So you don't listen to the show.
God.
You don't do your homework.
Way to go, Kahlo.
And you ruined the fucking joke because there's no news. Segment over.
Really?
That was my
back.
joke. It was my joke. And then he steps all over it. You shitting idiot. You
Hey,
fucking
hey,
moron.
Hey, how is he supposed to know?
How is he supposed to know? Hey, I like that fist bump. There we go.
No, that was pretty bad.
No, I'm going to give it to him because I'm mad at him. What the fuck? Step all over my production. Nice job.
Those were rage props right there.
God damn. That makes me so mad. So yeah,
Hashtag producer life.
Nothing to talk about in terms of news. Sorry guys, there's really not a whole lot going on right now. So yeah, there is
a new contest. Did you see that?
What?
There's a contest where you can create a treasure map to a sightseeing point, and people have to figure it out. And you can get a prize for creating like the coolest map, or a prize for like solving something.
Okay, that might actually be cool. Like,
I don't know. It sounds weird.
I actually really like when MMOs do weird kind of off the wall community stuff like that. Like I thought the hair design thing was really cool. Did they show off any of the I mean, I know they showed off who the winners were, but like, have we actually seen
Like
any of
the
their
runners up or something?
No, like have we actually seen the hairstyles? Like, have they actually made it into the game?
I don't think so.
And how loyally have they translated from the
supposed
wiki?
Please look forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't showed us
Yeah,
yet. They probably won't show us till the patch drops.
It'll be
Well, we'll
coming
see.
in 26 weeks.
Yeah, we'll see. we'll see how that ends up going. But I mean, like, they've done other stuff like this. It's like I just the one that I can think of is that they had a design a ring contest. I think it was all the way back in 1.0 and whatever, or maybe I'm even thinking of back in 11. I don't even know. But whatever they chose was just like a cross, and it was super boring. And I hope that whatever it is just make it cool, make it legit, make it good.
To be fair though, if it was in 11 or
I don't think it was.
further
No,
back,
because 11 didn't display rings. I don't even know why I
PS2
thought
limitations.
that. Just fuck off. I don't even know why I thought that. But yeah, I don't remember when that happened, but I do remember that happening.
that it was lame.
And that it was whatever they chose. It was like whatever they chose the winner because it was like that was the easiest to make work.
That's what I was thinking in my head.
Yeah.
How complex can you really make a fucking ring?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway. Thanks for tuning in. Even though we don't have a whole lot of Final Fantasy stuff to talk about.
Well, there's LVR news.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the bet we made in the green room video last week?
Oh,
we should bring that to light for all of the LBR listeners.
Should.
Wait, what's this? What's going on?
Yeah.
I wasn't here last week.
Me and Aniro made a bet.
We did. What was the bet? I don't remember this.
The bet was that I believe that Hildebrand / comedic side quest
Yeah, that's
will
right.
be in 3.1.
That's right. And I said that they won't.
Yeah.
And
what's at
and
stake?
what's at
what are the
stake?
stakes here?
That's right. Oh yeah, I'm giving up my pay.
Yeah, we're
to
both
you.
giving up our pay.
Actual pay.
Yeah, the payout. We're
that episode and the monthly bonus goes to the other person.
Yeah. So it's actual money. Actual money.
Money.
So Juxta thinks that either the comic relief side quest or Hildebrand will be a part of 3.1. I do not.
Question.
3.15 is a null.
Is a null.
Oh, it
nobody
has to
wins.
be in the original 3.1.
But if it's in 3.15, nobody wins.
So if it comes before 3.2, null.
Yes.
Okay.
Who gets to decide what counts as comedy?
Wait a minute.
It's
How
pretty
about
obvious.
this?
It's
They have a big quest chain on
sort
the
of
side.
painfully obvious. It's really telegraphed.
What if it comes between, your payout goes to me and Ascalia?
No, because you're not putting anything up.
No. Yeah, you have
What
no
are you
stakes.
putting up?
Yeah.
Well, let's put it to vote. Let's put it to vote, guys. Okay.
Okay. Anyone who's part of the bet currently, vote. All in favor, say aye.
I
opposed?
No, everyone gets a vote.
You stay the fuck out. Quit nosing in.
You're not part of
Quit nosing in on our shit.
Yeah, that's a Scalia's job.
You weren't here. You weren't here. You're not a part of it. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that bet still stands.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
I look forward to that money.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get it, my friend. I just don't think you're going to get it. What makes you think? Has there been anything in the last week that makes you think?
Just my faith in the great and glorious Yoshi.
Yeah, just your ego is all. Yeah. So we'll see. All right. So yeah, actual money at stake on whether or not 3.1 will have comic relief side quests in it or not. We'll see.
I don't believe. See.
I don't think so. We thinking about programming today's show, we touched on an interesting point last week. We got a great follow-up email that we want to read here on last week's show when we started to talk about game populations, MMO populations, server populations, active subscribers versus how many people have registered. And so we thought that would actually make I think we actually even pointed it out at the time when we had the discussion on the show, this would actually be a pretty good topic for a full episode. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. What is the significance of Final Fantasy XIV's population, quote unquote population, and we'll break down exactly what that means. What is the significance of Final Fantasy XIV's population being at 5 million players? So that's basically the question that we're posing. If you have any input that you want to share, make sure to you can give us a call live on the show via Skype. Just add the Skype account Limit Break Radio, or give us a call at 810-515-8715. And that's just the super easy way to give us a call. But we'll be taking your calls on this subject. And again, we got some great emails about this from last week. But before we get into that, and I actually want to say that we had this topic designed. We've had this topic designed for 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
It's been a while that we've had this. It was actually on. It wasn't just on last week's outline. It was on an outline before that. We've copy and pasted this discussion.
You've been on the back burner.
Yeah, you actually came up with the possible idea topic since the week before the Tinfoil Hat episode.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's been there.
I just want to mention that this idea has been floating around, on the back burner for a while, and now since we kind of brought it in on the last episode, seems like a good point to talk about it. But much to my surprise, I'm a big fan of the YouTube channel Game Theory, Game Theorists.
Sure.
It's done by this guy Matt Pat. I think actually, Escalia, you were the one that turned me on to them.
Yes. When I talked about
you not only that you introduced me not only to Game Theory, but you introduced me to Extra Credits as well.
Credits. That's what I was talking
Two
about.
fantastic series, yes. by the way, and I love these series to death. But man, Matt Pat uploaded a video, and it's really I watched it last night. It's really not sitting well with me. So I thought
it's tough to swallow.
Let's just watch. Let's we can't share the video with you guys. So if you want to go and watch it, we'll share a link to this video in the Twitch chat. But I feel like a lot of his points were really off base, and it's sort of a really good lead-in to this whole discussion. So, Juxta, will you cue up that video for me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, will you get that loaded for? Okay,
it's all set.
All right, so let's take a listen to this. Let's take a listen. This is now what's the title of that YouTube video, homie?
The title is Game Theory. Is the MMO genre dying?
Oh man! So first of all, dude, Matt Pat, man, way to be clickbaity with your title. Now, look, we have to preface this. We have to preface this with the same disclosure that he gives his audience, which this is absolutely a sponsored video. This is a sponsored video by what's the game that he's hawking?
Game of War.
Yeah, Game of War. Okay, that it's apparently some shitty mobile game.
Yeah, it's a mobile game, and a lot of my second graders played it last year, and they were always talking about it.
It's like
kind of
Clash of Clans?
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I've never spent any time with this nonsense.
It's one of those games that I see advertisements for where they just stole a picture out of a different game to use as their banner.
Is
and you're
this
like, what?
Is this the fuck? Wait, is this the game that you
with the hot
It's the
girl?
one that
Yeah.
Kate Upton.
Kate Upton, yeah.
I can get behind that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that's
I'll be in front of it.
That's the only notable thing about this game that I know of. Like it's
Guys,
that they
that
paid
was some imagery I just don't ever want.
Yeah, that was.
I don't ever want to have to
don't-
imagine you two in a threesome again.
Oh God, yeah. The
Good God.
I did.
To know what your penis looks like.
It really, great job. You gave
You know
everyone,
what? Look.
you gave everyone in the audience the mental picture of you guys golden gating Kate Upton. Way to go.
As Lonely Island and Justin Timberlake say, it ain't gay if it's a three-way.
Hey, look, no vomit. Wow.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, that was seriously gross. Anyway, so it's a sponsored video by this mobile game, this shitty mobile game. But yeah, the title right off the bat is the MMO genre dying? And okay, like off the bat, I'm a little bit defensive. You know, I'm a big MMO fan. I read that title, I'm like, no, come on, wait, like
24 reasons the MMO genre won't live to see tomorrow.
Oh my God!
Click here.
Show me your empirical evidence. What kind of data do you have to support this theory?
Well, let's find out. Like, let's hear what he has to say. Instead of beating the guy up, let's let him talk for himself.
And then beat him up.
Friends, today we gather to mourn the loss of our beloved game genre, the MMO.
Stop it! Stop! Pause! No.
Wait,
So in answer to
there's
his
no more
question,
MMOs. That's what that sounds like. They're all gone.
Okay, apparently,
Completely
not
gone.
only is it dying, it already died.
Okay, guys,
We're at
come
the
on,
eulogy.
come on. Us of all people can appreciate a little bit of theatrics, okay?
Okay, I'll give you theatrics.
I never
that's
said
true.
I wasn't a drama queen.
But I mean, what he makes it sound like is that the entire community of players who plays games no longer wants MMOs at all. Like they're gone. They're
Oh my
like
God!
that's what that sounds
It's
like.
eliciting a pretty strong response from you guys, though, isn't it?
You guys don't know how to hook your audience. All right.
I think we do a pretty goddamn good job of hooking our audience. Okay.
So you could appreciate this. Then.
No, I can't.
It's causing conflict.
Look at the fucking graphics on it. Look at all of the schmaltzy. Like he's set up a fucking graphic funeral for MMO. Like fuck off. Like really.
Pac-Man is sad. He's frowning.
Oh my God.
I just think, like, why the heck is Pac-Man at MMO's funeral?
All right.
Really, is Pac-Man still relevant?
Oh my God. It's just I'm cringing watching this. Like, just go ahead.
Ended. Ashbringer to Ashbringer, enchanted dust to enchanted dust.
Wow, references.
It's alive!
Oh, so MMOs aren't
So
dying.
yeah, no, okay,
never mind.
yeah, no.
He's changed his thesis now.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay, guys.
He's changed his thesis in his thesis. I'm pretty sure that's like 101 in English. You don't do that.
Yeah. Skip past this shitty intro here.
Can you do it? Can you do it for
skip
ironic
past that?
purposes?
I can.
No, well, I had to mute it, but I don't want to play it. Yeah.
Okay, we're past it.
Okay, all right.
Honestly, at first, I didn't know what to say. But as I thought about it, Game of War, and lots of other freemium games for that matter, represent an evolution in gaming we may not currently be playing, but we also shouldn't be ignoring.
Like
in part because of
de-evolution,
its
am I right?
impact on gaming as a whole, but also because freemium games promise to preserve one of gaming's oldest and most beloved genres, MMOs, just as it was on its last legs. And that's no PR spin. Looking at the history of gaming, the evidence is obvious.
Is it?
Lately, news about MMOs has been kind of a downer.
Yeah.
Earl, if you could, scroll through some search results here. Over the last year, more and more gaming publications have been discussing the death of the massive multiplayer online genre. The Lord of the Rings MMO? Gone. Elder Scrolls Online?
gone.
Largely underwhelmed. The Star Wars MMO? I mean Star Wars, the universe every single person on the planet wishes they lived in and single-handedly got people excited to watch other people unbox toys for 18 hours straight.
Okay,
nope,
Jesus.
SWTOR? Is that right?
Get to the fucking point.
Hold on, let's talk about acronyms.
Acronym. That was the
All right, pause this.
Pause
second.
this.
I got
Yeah,
beat
stop
out.
it.
I got
Yeah,
beat out.
fucking-
First of all,
what the
First of all, if your point ends with you making fun of the acronym of it? Like how much meat do you really have there, right?
Well, seriously, I feel like he cherry-picked his examples. Like, Lord of the Rings Online is actually still around and has a pretty healthy community. And I just saw, is a totally legit game. I mean, Turbine does a really good job of managing their games. They have smaller populations, they have different model structures, but like, what is his fucking point here? Like,
I think the point the Old Republic has really great story. I think it's just the development kind of slacked off.
I think
that's their own.
The point that he's making is that the press around MMOs has been really negative, right? Like, okay, yeah, the MMOs have not done a very good job when, they haven't made a ton of their money. They haven't been really, really profitable. At least, definitely not on the level as WoW. So, but again, I feel like he's cherry picking his examples, and especially if he doesn't mention Final Fantasy XIV in there.
One of the things he said was that there has been a very negative spin on MMO news in the gaming community. Okay. Yeah, let's just completely ignore the fact that Final Fantasy XIV was featured in Playboy, that it was featured in Time Magazine. Well, no. All jokes aside,
Playboy's a big publication.
It is, and they do have legitimate articles as well as titties. Okay, so
a lot of people.
Well, they do, but they've been building up their
gaming news.
They've been building up their gaming.
Time has become like a geek news for whatever.
Yeah.
But Time Magazine, right? That's a big one, isn't it?
Well, no, it's not even that. But it's just like, how can you cite these examples of shitty games that, I feel like he's purposely, Final Fantasy XIV doesn't line up with his logic, and so he's just ignoring it.
You know what else, too? All of those games that he picked out are all freemium games.
Well, yeah, I think he's still building to a point here. Let's keep rolling.
Since just a few months after it came out, even Blizzard is making big moves, canceling Titan, their big Warcraft follow-up.
That was a big surprise.
Yeah, it kind of was.
Development, and their subscriptions for WoW are at their lowest since 2005. What happened to all the super successful MMOs where people literally lost decades of their life trading stacks of lizard skins for wheels of cheese? Are we entombing the MMO beside
that might have
other
been
dying
an
genres?
FF11.
I was like, was that an 11 joke?
Well,
it might have been.
Stuff that netherweave bag into the closet for good. There is a future for these games. MMOs aren't dying, they're evolving.
Oh god, here comes the pitch. It's the wind up for the pitch.
A new model for one of gaming's oldest genres. Now, a game genre evolving with
Okay, all right, hang on.
One of gaming's oldest genres?
Yeah, well, he
gets into that later.
Yeah, oh man, does
it's a stretch.
No, I don't think it is. It's
where they came from, yeah, but would you call those? Well,
it is. It is literally the history of how the MMO evolved. Yes, I totally the thing that he's about to launch into with MUDs and everything. Mm-hmm. But again, no mention of Final Fantasy XIV in there. He just blows past it, and I feel like that's a big blind spot to have if you're going to be critiquing the model that MMOs operate off of.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Especially just with how much of a great just build up and reputation this game even has. Like, at any convention I go to, I say I play an MMO. Like, oh, which one? I mention 14 and everyone gives me thumbs up. Everybody plays it, and then it's ridiculous how many people play it and love it.
Did Twitch explode when Heaven's Ward first came out? Like, how do you ignore that?
Yeah, a lot. So many streamers were on Heaven's Word, and that's why I said, I feel like they blew an opportunity to keep people there, to keep some really talented people playing 14 when they decided we're just going to be kind of lax with our content.
But they had to take a vacation, man. They were tired.
Yeah, whatever. All right. Let's keep it going here.
MMO is such an old game style that none of us really realize how many changes it's already had. So much so that if you went back and looked at where they started, the MMO is practically unrecognizable. I would expect most people watching this channel didn't start to hear about the MMO until their former best friend, co-worker, or prom date fell victim to the World of Warcraft.
Yeah, that was a lot of people's entry points, but I might
remember
EverQuest and Ultima Online were on way before that.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, he just mentioned EverQuest.
More like MS-DOS. If you've ever accidentally ended up on the
so the point that he's driving to is fucking
complained that Elder Scrolls Online had lackluster graphics.
Oh god, wait a minute, hang on, roll that back. I was talking over top of that, but that just makes me mad because that's a stupid bad joke. That's a bad joke. Run it back. I want to hear that again. Can you give that any more volume? From YouTube?
No, it's
no. Okay, all right.
If you've ever accidentally ended up on the command prompt screen of your computer, that was basically it. And people complained that Elder Scrolls Online had lackluster graphics.
That's so hilarious. Oh my God, what a fucking terrible joke. What an awful. Why would you write that down on a piece of paper, look at it, and then do you not, what the
I know why.
Oh my God.
Because it caters to the lowest common denominator.
Oh. If you've ever accidentally opened your MS-DOS prompt, oh my God. I need to, I'm a big fan of Opie and Anthony. Okay, I'm a big fan of Opie and Anthony, and I have to cite one of their jokes. I have to cite one of their references. He's giving me douche chills. I can feel it. It's in the base of my spine. He's giving me douche chills with these terrible fucking jokes.
Someone in the chat doesn't seem to get the joke. The joke is that MS-DOS is nothing but text-based. It's just black and white.
And that's what MUDs were.
And the joke is that those graphics are as bad as Elder Scrolls Online.
Elder Scrolls Online. Yeah. I have to get it out of my. I'm cringing so hard.
I would like to point one thing out though.
Look at me.
I know. Now you know how we feel putting up with you.
Oh, funny.
When does the comedy start?
Seriously, Matt Pat. God damn. Okay. All right. It's making his point about MUDs, which I actually agree with. That's what I was. That's the point that I was going with. Was that the parallels that he's drawing to MUDs is totally
I feel like
fine.
this whole history of MMOs is pretty irrelevant.
Oh, it's so irrelevant to the point.
Okay, he's just trying to fill time. I'm watching this last time, I'm like, what? Why the fuck are you talking about this?
He's padding his sponsored video.
He is building to his point that MMOs are evolving.
Yeah. Anyway, go.
Start a game and receive all the information about who their character was, what class they were.
Actually, can we? You know what? Hang on.
We're getting nowhere, man.
Yeah, just. Can we skip the thing about the fucking MUDs?
Please.
MUDs were text-based. Yeah, they look like MS-DOS. And
people spent lots of money to play them because the internet was new and expensive.
Yes, yeah. People spent
$117 a month.
Yeah,
to play a MUD.
Yeah, let's just skip all that and get to the fucking point that he's trying to make, because this is just wasting time.
What's his point? Wow, he talks a lot about MUD.
He fucking does.
I know. It's it's a 13-minute long video with 7 minutes about fucking
I was
MUDs.
watching it as I was getting ready to go to bed, right? And I'm
boring.
like, are you fucking kidding me?
Well, at least it was probably easy to fall asleep after.
There was that.
Is it after the subscription fees part?
Yeah, that's all in there.
Yeah. Just just do it. Yeah,
all right, let's try here.
Yeah, just try.
Whatever. Star Wars. Star Wars was developed by BioWare, the same publisher as Neverwinter Nights. Clearly a company who knows what they're doing with an MMO. Well, the game cost nearly $200 million to make.
No, this is a good point. This is a good point.
Most expensive game ever made.
Yeah.
How about Destiny, the MMO FPS? It is the most expensive game ever made at $500 million. Disney Infinity, also in the top list with $100 million.
Disney Infinity's raking in
MMO,
cash,
devs
though.
are expected to create a vast world that feels alive and open-ended, always changing. But by spending that much to make a game, you take a huge risk. The risk that, people just might not like it. And it's not like any of the MMOs mentioned here aren't fun games. Most are pretty good. Some are fantastic. But the problem is that they need so many people to play for such a long time just to break even that it's almost impossible to become a smash hit. In the case of SWTOR, what was supposed to be the next World of Warcraft breakout hit actually just ended up slashing their subscription fees.
Okay, all right.
Pause it there, because he actually puts a graphic up here that I kind of took a little bit of offense, well, not offense to, but he puts up a little chalkboard to basically show how long certain amounts of people would have to play to break even. Sure. And it was like $500,000 for 2 years. Is that really like that big of a deal?
500,000 for 2 years.
For 2 years.
I mean, that's actually a pretty modest goal.
Right. Okay. And then you add on top of it like optional cash, like cosmetic stuff.
Yeah.
And really? Is it that?
His point's just, he has a point that these games are very expensive to develop.
Yeah.
right? And it takes a lot of development power, takes a lot of time, a lot of investment for it, right?
That's the risk you run, not even just with games, but with fucking anything.
Well, I think that's why we see a lot of MMOs attached to IPs. Like, right? Like, there is a chance that you release it, and then people just don't like it. Like, you're right.
Rift.
You're
Aeon.
right. That is a risk. That is the inherent risk. And that is why, like, it was for a while, every fucking studio was developing an MMO because they saw what Blizzard did, and they were like, oh, I want a cut of that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's just like programming radio stations. Like, you can't, just because an audience exists somewhere, you can't think that you're just going to eat into that audience. Like, it's contingent on you to create a really great product. And when
you
they
can't
didn't
just be like, wow, this FF14 podcast is really great. I bet I can do this.
You're not wrong. But yeah, like, I feel like he's cherry picking his data to only really like support the idea that MMO players are falling off. I don't think
it's cool. Good for you building an argument, but another important part of that was also taking points from the opposite side of the argument, legitimizing those, and then talking them back down.
He's trying.
That's a little hard.
He's trying to hawk a product too. So like, let's not forget that.
My thing is like, why didn't he mention like Rift or Aeon or any of these other big MMOs that were supposed to be big WoW killers but didn't?
Right.
Why does he keep talking about SWTOR?
Yeah,
Switter.
Well, I think because like really, there's the fandom for Star Wars right now is at an all-time high because of the movies that are going to be coming out, and it's the strongest example of like this game had everything going for it. It had the name, it had the setting, but like, no,
something happened, or didn't happen.
It didn't. Well, like, I don't know that it did. I was not a fan. I did not play Knights of the Old Republic. I don't think that the audience for that. I think that game is remembered with rose-colored glasses. I think people like to remember it. Like, people hear it's a good game, and so they're like, oh yeah, I believe that it's a good game. And so it's like it's remembered fondly. But I don't know how well that game sold. I don't know that it broke sales records. So like, if that's the basis for the Star Wars universe that you're jumping off to, 90% of the the just passerby, like, they don't have a context for that. Star Wars Galaxies would have been a way better, but they fucked that game to hell. And so yeah, like, I don't think that you can necessarily draw that fucking conclusion.
I don't think you can base like SWTOR like failing based on the MMO genre as a whole dying. No. SWTOR had a laundry list of problems that were wrong with it on a fundamental level.
Yeah.
Starting with the end game was fucking shit.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep him.
CEO recently stated, quote, "The message from players exiting the game is clear. 40% say they were turned off by the monthly subscription." Man, doesn't it?
And yet, you ask an audience that has been receiving up until recently, regular great content. Do you ask us, Final Fantasy 14 players?
This actual question to them.
This was a question.
It was a high percentage too.
It was like 80%.
Yeah. Actually, and remember how with Elder Scrolls it started out subscription, and when it went buy to play, people were pissed and they quit because they weren't paying subscription now, and they thought it'd be worse.
And you know what? With SWTOR being, Star Wars and being so big, that game probably drew in a lot of people who haven't yet played subscription-based models. So if they've been playing all these games without paying for them, then suddenly when you're like, hey, you have to pay for it, they're gonna think,
the issue is
especially
that's
because the best part of the Star Wars MMO is the single player content. That's the biggest.
But the issue is that's a half answer. The answer isn't I'm quitting because I have to pay the subscription model.
Right.
It's I'm quitting because I have to pay a subscription model for a shitty ass game.
And you're not delivering on the content. Exactly. Because look at how many people Final Fantasy 14 is able to retain.
Yes.
And they're happy to pay their subscription because they're like, I feel like I'm getting my $12 worth.
Exactly. No, if SWTOR was good and hadn't just like literally you get to the end of the game and you're like, okay, well, I'm here at the end of the game. There's pretty much nothing to do. There's like 2 raids and it sucks balls.
Yeah.
No one would have a problem paying that money if more shit was coming out.
Right. Exactly. And that's my thing is that, like, dude, MatPat, how can you ignore this?
You're drawing the wrong conclusion from the facts.
Well, it's because it's a sponsored video and because
you're drawing the conclusion that they want you to draw.
Exactly. All right, keep it
things. Why can't we just get vast open worlds offering thousands of hours of entertainment for the low cost of, I don't know, free? Why can't EA simply be happy with the payment of a job well done and millions of pleased fans? Well, hate to break it to you guys, but artistic satisfaction and lollipop pops ain't keeping the lights on at these places. So how can MMOs be financially feasible now? EA actually had more to say. Many players indicate they would come back if we offer a free-to-play model.
Oh, God, it's again with the fucking EA and the cherry picking. That people would come back if it went free to play. Yeah, because you released a free to play game. You released the amount of content that we expect as an audience in a subscription model, and the audience was smart enough to recognize it.
Exactly.
And they were like, "Look, if that's what you're going to give me, I'm not going to pay for that, but I'd play it for free."
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Elder Scrolls Online.
It's a half answer.
Exactly.
I'm happy to play this game if it's free because that's what that game is worth.
Because it's bad.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. People are willing to pay for a game that provides enough content for your money's worth.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, my personal opinion, like even with FF11, I don't care for the way the content's gone. But if it went free to play, I would play simply because I just don't think it's worth my money.
See,
but with FF14, and a lot of people think Elder Scrolls and World of Warcraft, they think that it's worth their money, then it's fine.
Yes.
It's very different.
I am on the complete opposite side of the spectrum. Like, since I got the Technonomicron PC, which is what we named it, by the way, I play a lot of Steam games, and I probably spend more time just browsing through Steam than I do actually playing the game.
Yeah, totally.
If I see a game that's free to play, I don't even bother looking at it.
Yeah.
I'm chat right now.
It's free to play for a reason.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, Nika, that's a great point. I want to stop and I want to point out in the chat room, okay? Malfested? Alistair. I'll go with Alistair. Alistair in the chat says, I think I'd drop FF14 if it went free to play.
Did I just blow your mind?
And like the chat just lit up with people going, yeah, like point.
What he said.
Yeah, exactly. Just fucking. Oh my God, Matt Pat. That's. I'm sorry, man. I love your videos, dude. I love your.
Except this one.
I fucking love. I've watched every one of your videos. Okay. Fucking keep doing your Five Nights at Freddy's and your fucking Assassin's Creed, whatever. Keep doing that shit, okay? This is just egregious, man. It's just egregious. And
we know it's sponsored, but the thing is,
I know, but even that,
it's turning me off to that game. Like, what kind of game gets people to play it by bashing on other games?
Yeah,
it really genre.
Tell me what you have rather than breaking down what I already love.
It's such a
Jesus. Did you even try?
I don't think
it'd be
he
easy
did.
for them to talk about what they have if they had something.
Yeah.
Oh.
How much more we got left in here? Not much.
Yeah, we got probably like 2-3 more minutes.
Let's because I know he's gonna get to the hard sell for the fucking game, and then we'll just forget.
And I have some shit to say.
Yeah, we'll fuck off after. We'll let him fuck off after that.
Here we see history repeating itself. Way back in the early 90s, players demanded MMOs that weren't tied to their ISPs and cost
because
less
they were
than $100
charging, $100 fucking bucks a month.
Yeah.
And what seems like this huge MMO crisis now is just gamers dealing with a new issue: subscription fatigue. I mean, think about it. You have to pay a subscription fee for internet, for Netflix, Spotify. Maybe you're paying someone.
You don't pay for Spotify. Don't be dumb.
That's like a million subscriptions.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. Subscription fatigue. Yeah, I could see that.
So isn't it a lot of games though that have a subscription fee don't also require like I know with like Xbox Gold version or whatever, if you have a game that's a subscription, you don't also have to have Xbox Gold to play it, right?
Totally.
So then if that's the only game you want to play, you don't need all that subscription.
I think.
crap.
I don't know. I actually don't know how that works anymore. I dropped off Xbox, so I don't know.
Back when I had Xbox Live, if your game, like for example, Final Fantasy 11 or if 14 was on the Xbox, you wouldn't need gold to play that online.
I think that was only for 11. I think that was like unique to 11.
Most things though, if they had some type of online component, like for example, Mass Effect 3, if you wanted to play online multiplayer, you did need gold.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing with on the PlayStation, right? They do the whole PS Plus thing for a lot of games like Destiny and things like that. But for 14, you don't need PS Plus.
Yeah.
Right?
PlayStation was way smarter about it because they were giving their games away for like a year or 2 years before Xbox jumped on that bandwagon. And they gave away some great games. For a while, PlayStation Plus was the greatest deal in gaming. I don't know about it anymore because they seem to just be putting crap games up for free. But at one point, PlayStation Plus was fantastic. It was a great deal. And I mean, if you got it then, like, and you maintain your PlayStation Plus subscription, it continues. You always have those games. So it's like if you had them, if you had the chance to get them, it does continue to be a really good deal, and it hooks you in. It's a great model. Great model. All right, let's finish this up.
There's another alternative, free to play. Gamers treat F2P like it's a dirty word.
It is.
Acronym.
Back to the acronym joke. Nice.
Combination. And yet this is clearly a model we want. I'm not just talking about what EA said.
Our chat disagrees.
Themselves don't lie. Look at this data. For all our moaning and groaning about free to play, the charts speak for themselves.
We've had this discussion before. It's because you have all those people going to and from work that just need something to do. Those aren't like
gamers.
They're not
playing games. They play games. They're not. Like, if they're not just doing it because they have nothing else to do. They're not gonna say, "I want to play a game." You know.
Is he talking about free to play MMOs, or is he talking about mobile games at this point?
I think he's gonna go into the mobile game.
Yeah, no, I know. But if he's making that point that the data doesn't lie about free to play, that more and more games have gone free to play, it's because they try a subscription model and then it doesn't work and they're forced into it.
Can we go back 10 years? Like, if you had the numbers, what percentage of the market would moms playing solitaire on their PC have been if you could pull that?
I guess we better start putting moms playing solitaire everywhere because the numbers are fucking huge.
The numbers are huge. Let's play solitaire. Minesweeper's big shit, man.
Jesus. All right. I think that hit play again.
99 cents. People today want games that they can try before they buy, or can invest as much as they feel comfortable with. Even the big mega MMOs like World of Warcraft have started offering in-game transactions instead of charging players to play the first 20 levels. But it's mobile where the future of MMOs truly lie. I mean,
bullshit. Okay, here comes the sell. Here comes the sell for the bullshit game. So
with smartphones becoming more ubiquitous, and with data rates going down and graphical ability of these devices going up, hardcore gaming on your cell phone or tablet is going to become the norm.
Okay, that's legit. I think that might be fair.
We talked about that
might
on
be fair.
FFXIV.
Right, but we still don't know
as
where
an
that's
MMO.
going.
As an MMO
is very different though. When you have a competitive atmosphere with you know, with the kind of, I mean, let's just look at something like FF14, how intense, like even the instance fights, the amount of reactionary time you have to have, the amount of cooperation between people. I don't think you could ever really feel that experience on a cell phone.
Man, I agree, and you know, I did watch. I watched this whole video last night, and when he gets into the sell for the game, he tries to say how it brings in aspects of MMOs, but it's also, you know, it's also like I think the point that he makes is that people want content in short bursts, like short, you know, real short containable bursts, and I mean, you know, like that's a theory that's going around right now, but long form content, it still has its place. Like,
just not 5 months.
Fucking, you know, like a big MMOs, big AAA titles. Like, not everything is going to be moving towards your phone. Like, I agree that most things are, but we're not there yet. You know,
that's a generation. That's obvious. But
I think he's just making a logic jump that is just not there.
The other big problem that I had with this video overall is I really felt like it was treating us like idiots. Like I felt this is something that you would show to the school board, like full of soccer moms, because they want to know why their kids are spending so much money on their cell phone.
Normally, game theorists, like when they do videos, they present things that I literally hadn't thought about.
Exactly.
It's literally like, that's a interesting point. Like, let's debate that. This one is just like,
this is just hacky.
The problem is he's trying his hardest not to seem like a sellout.
I know.
Even though he totally sold out.
And
you know what?
Spent that whole time sucking that Total War dick.
I can't blame him, because I bet he probably got a nice little sum.
Yeah, I'm sure the check cleared. But again, like, I feel like when I watch his videos, opposed to a lot of his other videos, I don't know if he believes what he's saying.
Probably not. But you know what they say? You ask for forgiveness, not permission.
All right.
That's the fundamental theory of basically our whole show.
But again, you know, it's a good launching point to talk about our population and what it means. I mean, clearly it's relevant.
It's dying, obviously.
Oh well, yeah.
The more subs you get, the closer you are to
it's totally
death.
dying.
You know,
it's totally dying.
I've noticed, you know, our Twitch subs are going up. Clearly, our show is on the way up.
Oh yeah. totally. Yeah, our short form content is really the thing that's getting people's attention. They'll sit around and watch our shit. They'll watch our show for fucking 3 hours. They'll listen to our show for 3 hours, front to back, because they know all of it, and then they send fucking novels of emails back to us.
Oh my God, the emails you guys are sending.
Did we get some emails?
Oh,
do we have emails?
We got like 20 or 30 emails.
Dude. And the thing is, our traffic keeps going up. Like we've had problems with our site because people keep downloading our show. Our Twitch viewers keep going up. Like what the fuck?
Our site cannot handle the amount of traffic we're getting.
Several months ago,
you might want to think this whole theory of like short form content, like 15 minutes is pushing it. Like no, it's really not. It's not. People are hungry. You know what the problem is that people are hungry. They do want long form content, but they don't get it from their traditional sources, like radio or television. You know, there's no shows that dig into stuff like this really deeply and really just dig into the fucking root of it. And I think that's why people like the show. That's why people continue to flock to the show, is because we're doing the thing that traditional media is too scared to do, and by tackling things like video games and very specific topics, and we're doing the thing that the internet guys are too afraid to do, where we're just nitpicking and exploding a topic for as much time as it fucking takes, and we're not holding ourselves to 15 minutes and scripted bullshit. All right, like Matt Pat,
with
I love
Rick
your
roll jokes.
You
missed those. That was
we skipped those.
Over.
You're
welcome.
Twice though. He did it fucking twice.
He did a callback to it. Oh my God!
Come on, everyone knows John Cena's where it's at now.
It hurt so much. I can't.
15 minutes is pushing it if you don't have more than 15 minutes of content.
Yeah, if that's all you have to say.
Yeah.
If that's all the shit that you have to say, and especially if you're writing all your shit out, yeah, fine, your shit's going to be 15 minutes. But you know what? That's not indicative that content longer than 15 minutes is going to fail. It's not. People are interested in these conversations. They want to join. They want to join in on these conversations.
How often, right? Like I know all of us are guilty of this. Sitting down and spending 5, 6, 7 hours like binging a show on Netflix, and then you jump onto Facebook and you see some article that looks interesting. You go to read it and it wants you to watch a 3-minute video, and you're like, I ain't got time for that.
Yeah,
shit.
fuck that shit.
We just spend half a day watching something, but we can't spend 3 minutes
because part of you knows that that 3-minute video is not going to change my life.
I'm not going to get that 3 minutes back.
Well, no, there's not going to be anything big enough in a 3-minute video that you're like,
I want real meat and potatoes content.
Yeah. All right. So we also got this email here very recently from Radowski, a listener from Odin. Kyle, why don't you read this?
Of course, because I'm the best reader.
Yeah, you're a good reader. I'm a terrible reader. I'm almost as bad as Juxta in terms of reading stuff. So
what?
I don't want to. I stumble. I stumble like you do.
I'm really bad though.
I know. I'm almost just as bad.
Guys, trying to do a thing here.
It's not a competition here.
No,
you both suck.
It's not a competition, but I'm the worst. Yeah. So let's move on.
Hey, LBR, Radowski from Odin here. I'm fairly certain this won't be the only email about it, but I felt the need to clarify what you guys said about FF14 reaching 5 million subs. For better or for worse, the statement from SE was talking about registered accounts, not including trials, and not active subs. He gives a few sources, and the active sub number is way lower, probably close to 700K or the 1 million mark, which is still really good for a subscription-based MMO, and I really hope FF14 will forever stay in that model. I tried free-to-play MMOs and absolutely hated it. I would rather pay my sub fee and get the whole experience than play a free game that locks many features behind paywalls.
There you go.
I believe Yoship, I think that should be Yoship, once said that an active base of 300,000 players is enough to sustain an MMO like this. So I'm glad to see FF14 is going way stronger than that.
Yeah.
And to add to that long wait for the patch discussion, I will be the unpopular one here and say that I am actually happy it is only coming in November. I still have so much to do in this patch that I actually feared that the patch would drop on us by the end of September or early October. Me and my static only recently progressed to Alex 3 Savage, and because I also do endgame crafting, I still have so much to craft and so much guild to make and other jobs to level. And I completely ignore PvP and Gold Saucer just from lack of time. I do agree that Savage was made way too difficult and that there is a huge gap between super casual and super hardcore content, but I certainly wouldn't complain on not having anything to do until November. As always, thank you for doing the great show every week. Love you all. Radowski Supreme from Odin. P.S. Kala was amazing.
I didn't see that PS, but okay.
It's there. It's not, no.
Anyway.
It's there in spirit.
Yeah, well, when you say it, I guess it's there.
It's more like it's there in hell.
So, yeah, that's. I think that's a great launch into the discussion about the population. He brings up a couple of really good points. Like, yeah, when we were citing the 5 million, it's people who have registered accounts,
who have registered an account, whether they played for 1 month or still playing now.
Right, and the active subs number is probably closer to like 700K.
You really think it's that low?
No, I actually think that it's probably closer to 1.2 to 1.5.
Still that low?
But still,
wow.
even at 700K, if everyone was Legacy and paying 10 a month, that's still $7 million a month coming in.
Yeah.
This is not a genre that's going anywhere.
Well, but especially when you do it right. And Square Enix has shown that you can do it right. And if you keep... See, the problem is, and this is what we were talking about on the last show, is with this 7-week wait, like, that's really concerning because people are going to lose faith, especially the people that just joined after Heavensward. They're going to lose faith.
Right. This is their first experience. Like, is this the standard? No, it's not. And it's unacceptable.
And with how hard they pushed themselves coming out of the gate with 2.0, you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like they are really, really letting down an opportunity to now show an even more substantial audience. They really had to reconvince people to reinvest in FF14 when A Realm Reborn hit. And then, like, I felt like they were starting to hit their stride and starting to, like, really... like, get there, you know what I mean? With
here's the other thing that
with Heavensward.
The other point that the email raises that especially me and you lose out on is that we have one job we play, right?
Right.
We level that, we get stuff that we need, and now it's like, yeah, what do we do now?
Right.
But FF is different from every other MMO out there in that you can level all of these different classes.
That's
and
true.
You're right. It
That's
did
true.
have an amazing performance right out the gate. And it seems now like that's all, left back in the dust. And it's like, what comes next? But like he says, there are people that play multiple facets of this game and want to level multiple jobs. And they are still out there doing content over again. For them, it has replayability.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I mean, it might also be speaking to the population who joined the game at Heavensward, and they've been trying to take this time to get caught up.
But it seems ridiculous. But guess what?
Yeah.
There are still people who haven't finished the story.
Yeah, I know. It's
I know. It blows our mind.
It's
but they're
fucking
out
crazy.
there.
But
okay,
here's...
well, hold on. Maybe
Okay.
maybe they need a new patch to kick their ass in gear. Okay? I mean,
Well, it's coming in 6 weeks.
Hold on. If they think that, I still have 6 more weeks to get this shit done, I can just be lazy about it. I
Guys,
mean, come on.
I'm concerned that I'm not going to finish my relic weapon before 3.1.
Relic weapon.
So that I can get the little boost in the quest or whatever.
Oh.
I still have to do all my Mahatmas.
Dummy. But like when they say, okay, so like the actual server populations, like kind of let's be generous. It's hovering around 1 million. Okay, when WoW trots out that their populations are down to 5 point whatever, is that active registered paying accounts? That's not people logging in. You can't. Can you guys? I mean, you guys are the Kahlo, Juxta. You two are the WoW players. You think 5 million people are actively logging in that game?
Because that's the thing. No, that's the thing. Registered accounts can't go down. You're registered,
right?
So they must be claiming that it's 5 million active users.
It can't be. They're cannot.
Or is it 5 million characters? Because I know in that one you can't just change job. You have to make a new character, right?
No, I'm pretty sure it's accounts.
Yeah.
And I want to say it's 5 million active accounts because I'm pretty sure their active or accounts just registered is up to like 27 million.
Yeah, that's
something retarded.
I think they clarify it by like an active account as someone is maintaining their sub. They're still paying for
it. Yeah, or maybe someone who's cancel their sub but within 3 months or something.
Right.
Okay, I haven't played WoW since Lich King, and even at that point, it didn't feel like 5 million people.
But I'm just saying, I'm trying to figure out where we're pacing with WoW because I feel like not, and again, this is like, I don't log into WoW, so I don't really have a whole lot of context. But I feel like FF14 is pacing with where WoW is now, and that is significant, and that the significance of that should not be overlooked.
I feel like, and again, it's impossible to really know that. I will tell you,
and that's part of the problem.
I'm pretty sure that WoW has way more servers than what FF does.
Sure,
yeah, fair.
Tons. And you also have to remember, again, A Realm Reborn's been out for 2 years now, and what the fuck is WoW going on? Like over 10 years now?
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, there's a lot of registered users. There's probably a lot more active people playing.
Sure.
Right? But what about attention, media attention? How often do you really hear about WoW
Not
as
much.
opposed to what you've been
Never.
hearing about, 14, and the shit that I hear even by word of mouth from World of Warcraft, from like hardcore players that still play it?
It's just...
They don't like it. Our beneficiary
Yeah.
plays WoW, and the only reason she still plays it is because she's invested so much time so far
Right.
Yeah.
that she can't let go of it. And because of this,
Kind of the 11 effect.
the new model that they've
Yeah,
released,
big
where
time.
you don't have to pay for it, people can now buy subs and sell them on the auction house, so you can actually pay for your monthly sub in gold rather than actual money. It's the only reason she's even playing now, because she has so much gold. She just buys her sub. That's the only reason she plays
I
anymore.
wonder how many people would stop subbing if they couldn't do that.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Well, but we talk about how many players they have, and going back to Matt Pat's video about how he was talking about WoW kind of being on the decline. Dude, the game's over 10 years old.
Yeah.
Right. The
What
WoW,
do you
WoW
think
is
the
the
life
WoW
cycle
killer.
is?
Yeah.
WoW is the WoW.
Yeah, WoW
killer.
killed itself. WoW committed suicide.
WoW was the first of its kind, and after being out this long, you have to obviously some things are going to be out that are more modern and better. But what do you expect? They're not going to be around forever, and it has nothing to do with the subscription. It's just the fact that it's an old game and it has an old.
But I don't think that audience is gone. I don't think
No, they're not just
And it's
vanishing.
not.
Yeah.
They're not like, okay, now that WoW's dead, I'm done with MMOs.
Right.
They're going to new games that have the same stuff as WoW does, but is improving upon itself.
Yes.
It's more modern.
And obviously, just because WoW is dying, WoW's not the MMO genre. It's not the end-all, be-all.
No.
Just because they're going to better games doesn't mean it's fucking dying.
Yeah, no, well, and you know what? Fucking dude, look at how he cited Destiny as just a number, as how much it costs to make, but he didn't ever talk about how many fucking people are playing.
Yeah, what about
thing.
the success of Destiny?
Yeah. I mean,
the new DLC for it. The game is decent. It's good.
It's gotten better since the new expansion.
Not only that, and I think the reason that people clearly Destiny is a successful product. Yes, it doesn't have it doesn't have a monthly subscription fee, right?
Don't believe
No, but you need PS Plus and all that stuff to
Yeah.
play.
Okay. Yeah. So it's not a total fucking analog. But the thing is that the audience.
I'm being told it is a sub-based model.
It is a sub?
No. It's pay for the patches and the big.
Pay by patch. Okay.
It's not a monthly sub, definitely not.
Thank you, Frosty Betrayer. Yeah, I didn't think that it had a monthly sub.
Right,
But I mean, it does have a way to monetize its content,
Yes.
which is really what we're talking about here. But the thing is that look at the success of that game.
Right.
Look at how many people are fucking playing that game. Look at how there are dude. The coworker that I share an office with plays the thing religiously. It's insane. The Destiny players, they fucking love that game, right? And because they have content in there that they enjoy, that's why it's successful. The content is what makes a game successful or not.
I feel like we as a people, we like to bitch. That is what we do, especially gamers.
Yeah.
And so I feel like a lot of it gets taken out of context. We're like, oh, everyone's complaining, and everyone did bitch about Destiny when it came out. Everyone.
But
bitched
I'm
about
just
Destiny.
why
But that doesn't
was
mean it
Matt Pat?
sucked.
Why was Matt Pat not talking about why did he only hold that up as a number for how much a fucking
Because
budget?
otherwise it wouldn't support his fucking argument.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
There
You're
is
right.
that.
You're right. You're right. No, you're right.
And someone said earlier in the video is he quoted a Nero from saying at the beginning, is I love Matt Pat's videos. Proceeds to shred it.
I do.
We do.
I do.
Matt Pat, we expect more than that horse shit content of a video you just put out.
Even if it's sponsored. See, this is the problem. Here's the point. Here's the point that I want to make with the Matt Pat shit. Okay, here's the point. Right? He's getting paid for that. That's how he supports his channel. That's how he financially supports his endeavor. Okay.
Right.
Right. He has to do that stuff. That's the model that he's chosen. Okay, it's fine. That's fair. I get it. That we're beating him up a lot over sponsored content, which is a little bit unfair. I'm going to cop to that. Like us beating them up over it as much as we have, a little bit unfair. But here's the thing, okay? When game companies do sponsored content, when game media does sponsored content, it's always shitty. It always sucks. Always sucks. It doesn't matter if it's from game trailers or if it's from fucking MatPat. It sucks, and this is the proof that it sucks.
It's because they're basically paying you to say, tell people my game is good.
Exactly.
But you're being paid to do it, so
and
how can you take you seriously?
And I understand that he's got a business to run, but this just, like, people wonder why we got to pull the show over for 14 minutes to ask our audience for money. This is why. Because if we have to support our show.
Right.
We got to do what we got to do to get, to be able to support all of the shit that we do for our audience.
Well, like, do you think anyone would like our show if Square Enix was sponsoring us?
Yeah.
Every time we said something good about the game, they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, big shocker there."
Yeah.
Okay. I tell you this, there'd be no dick jokes.
Cha-ching, there's another $5. Like, that's not. I feel that's a very disingenuous way to present even your sponsored content. Even I get it. It's a fucking commercial for the game, but it's a disingenuous way. Like, it would be like Square Enix buying a stake in this show or buying ad time on this show.
Frigid Priestess says LBR doesn't want to sell out to anyone except the community. We piss our community off all the time.
Well, yeah. That's the thing. Is that what? Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have anyone who would like. We don't have anyone that we'd say pay us enough money and we'll say what you want us to say.
Exactly.
That's not our model at all.
Exactly.
Even if someone came to us with that amount of money, a Nero would be like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
And then we say, "Fuck you, a Nero."
Yeah, a Nero would want to get paid.
But the thing is,
please, sir, can I have some more?
But the thing is that if our listener supported model doesn't work, that's what we have to fucking resort to. Ugh. That's what I don't want to do. That's
and why we would just end up getting fired or voiding some contract and have to give the money back then.
God, yeah, people would be pissed.
They'd be like, "Here, Nero, please tell people our game is good." He'd be like, "But it's shitty.
It's so bad.
I'll say that when you make it good."
Yeah,
and they'll be like, "You're fired."
Yeah.
All right, and
this is why we don't do sponsored content. It's exactly why. I mean, and again, and he's coming at MMOs, and he's totally ignoring us as a community. Felt that was a totally valid reason to bring it on the show.
You know what?
And I want to call out his bullshit. Like, that's a fucking bullshit way to present your sponsored content.
Speaking of what the community says, Jux, do we have someone on the line?
We sure do. We have Satori Komeji on the line.
Satori, how you doing, man?
Speaking of people who support us.
Yes. Right. Did you buy your way onto this phone call, sir?
Well, I do donate a lot of money a month.
The check did clear. You're good.
Yeah. Right. He's good for good for October, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm kidding.
I got my check. We're fine.
Satori, man, how's it going? Thanks for calling.
It's going good. I gotta ask, how many MMOs have you guys played?
I've played a significant amount. I played. Let's see.
Well, what's your definition of play? Dabble or like actually pay for?
Define that a little bit clearer. What?
Even dabbled.
Even dabbled. Okay, even dabbled. Oh, a lot.
I don't.
Jeez, this is gonna be a big number now.
Tons.
All right. Let me throw out some big name ones. Have any of you guys played Anarchy Online?
Yes.
Yep.
Nope.
No.
Back in 2001.
Yes.
No.
How awful was it?
It was fucking terrible. I hated that game. It looked like dog shit.
And it sounds like it was geared for a Nero. Anarchy?
The world was empty. People weren't helpful. Nothing was explained. It was like Final Fantasy XI in space.
You could gimp your character so easily and try to zone. You run into a door for hours.
It was terrible. It was that game was probably as bad as The Matrix Online, which was another one that I played. I played that fucking dog shit game. Ugh. Oh, it was terrible.
Was your name a Neo?
No. No. It was before the Nero thing.
Now, what about Asheron's Call 2?
I played Asheron's Call 2, and I played it for exactly 5 minutes. Textures wouldn't load properly. I couldn't actually play it. I tried to. God bless him. I gave him my money. I tried to play it, and then I was like, oh, those big green blocks. That's not my card fucking up. That's the game. That's not good. That was run by Microsoft, wasn't it? Turbine. That was run. Okay.
Turbine and Microsoft.
That's right. Turbine and Microsoft. Yep.
How about a lot of Microsoft influence?
As long as we're just going back, Horizons, was that one that you ever heard of, Satori?
I heard bad things about that.
Horizons, it was an Atari game. They promised so much shit. They were like, if you chop down a tree in this game, it's going to take time for it to regrow, and you're not going to be able to cut that tree down until it's a full tree again. It's going to be a dynamic world that the players can have an impact on.
Just stumps everywhere.
Yeah, if you mine a certain spot, in a mountain, and a lot of players continue to mine it, you'll actually make a mine, and all this kind of like you're going to be able to play as a dragon, like just this crazy shit, and none of that panned out, and it was fucking terrible. It was a tire fire. It was so bad.
Darkfall Online. Any of you guys play that one?
Which one?
Darkfall Online.
No, Darkfall. No.
Darkfall Online was an interesting one because it was made by a development team of 27 people.
Oh, is that right? Was it good?
Duke Nukem Forever of MMOs until it actually came out sometime like 2007.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because that was a name that I had heard forever.
I hope it ended up being better than Duke Nukem Forever.
Was it any good? Do people play it?
It was horrible. It was fun for like 3 months when people didn't know how to exploit the game. But once people started exploiting the game, they found out, the best places to get money. You could fucking make mobs fucking clip into areas so you could rail on them.
Was that a free-to-play game?
No.
No. Really?
Yeah. So Tori, I feel like you're trying to build to a point here.
Or we could just reminisce about old shitty games. Like, that's fine. I don't have no problem.
FF11, Guild Wars 2, World of Warcraft, FF14,
those are all good games, though. Those are all good MMOs.
Yeah, those are all good.
Yeah, basically, I played
Fantasy Star was decent, right?
Star Online.
Fantasy Star Online was good.
I played a little bit of that.
I will cop to this. Okay, I will cop to this. There was a point where I was trying to find a new MMO. I got hooked on MMOs early. I played Ultima Online a bunch.
When you were part of the Moonglow City Defense Force.
Yes.
And you ran the council meetings.
Yes, and so I played those two games, and I liked the genre of an MMO, but I didn't like. I wasn't that into EverQuest, and I was done with Ultima Online. And I went through a line of like free to play shitty Korean MMOs that were
Maple Story.
Oh, Maple Story.
Never.
Jumping
Maple Story's not even a real MMO.
Never. Oh, don't tell that to a Maple Story player. They will give you a fucking earful.
It's like a forum MMO.
I know, it's stupid. It was.
I played it for a long time. I had multiple characters. I would like have conversations with myself to get more gold.
Oh, you know what?
That's so sad, Nico.
Oh no!
I pretended I was a brother and sister that played the game together, and I would talk to myself on the forums because every post you make, you get more gold.
Oh, girl! Oh, Nika!
Okay, I was in high school. I had nothing better to do.
God!
Is Keon listening to this? Does he know that story?
Yeah. Don't let him hear that.
Roll call. Who played Second Life?
Oh,
yeah.
Big time.
I dabbled.
Not a lot. Yeah, I dabbled. You know what? I actually, this reminds me. I just this past week, I did an interview with the Ultima Final Fantasy guys, and we got really in depth with like the history of LBR, the history of me and my context with video games and all of that. It's going to be a really cool. I don't think the podcast is out yet, but we'll have a link to it at our website at Limit Break Radio when it is. Yeah, I talked about this very fucking thing on that show. So make sure that you go check that out, ultimafinalfantasy.com. And now that I was just doing that plug, I totally forgot what my train of thought was. Holy shit.
Well, so yeah, DC Universe Online.
All right, what's your point, Satori? Yeah.
So you look at all these games, these old MMO games. Imagine how much money's been wasted.
Oh yeah, just pissed down the drain.
The billions of dollars have been wasted.
Yep,
sure.
And you look at how AAA games are made.
Yeah. Every
AAA game usually open world, lots of fucking little tiny subquests to do.
Well, now it is. Now that's the format. Like based on The Witcher 3, Metal Gear Solid 5, fucking Assassin's Creed games for a while. Like that's what the model is. Like that.
All these games have MMO elements into them. The Witcher 3
that's true. Yeah.
Plays like WoW, like a single player WoW. Final Fantasy 14, that's a single player game.
Especially
that's the whole story mode. Is single player. You do dungeons with other people, but it's very reminiscent of a single player game.
Yeah, and the brilliance of Square Enix, the sheer genius of Square Enix is that they realized this. They realized that that's the way that game development is moving,
and money,
and they put it into their MMO, which is smart because other MMOs didn't do that. They just all they did was they designed the world, they designed the rules, and then they gave a little commercial.
1.0 did.
Yeah.
How did nobody nobody get that. Juxta, do you remember the Wrathgate cinematic in the Lich King?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like it was what I would say was like probably the first true storyline cutscene in that game, and it was motherfucking fantastic.
Is that
Everything
the one where
about it.
Sylvanas shows up with the undead?
With the undead, and then
who knew nothing about WoW
and then
lore,
Putricide
shit
shows
myself.
up and
it was
like
so great.
betrays them all, and that voice. Oh my god, that cutscene was motherfucking. It's gone out of the game now, but motherfucking fantastic. It's like, how did they not realize? Like, this is the shit you need to do.
I looked it up on YouTube like 3 weeks ago because I was trying to like bring that to mind that I had to like go through like old WoW cutscenes. That'll narrow it down.
The Wrathgate, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god, we finally watched it.
Even if you're not a WoW fan, watch that cutscene because it just uses in-game graphics, so it's nothing visually impressive.
Right.
But the storytelling of it and the voice act, oh my god,
sends chills up your spine.
It
the
does,
moment where
even now.
Arthas turns and is just like Sylvanas, and you can like hear he's like pissed.
Or I'll show you the mercy of the grave.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
No, it's
I
when
knew
Putricide-
nothing about WoW lore at that point. I literally was like, I got Kyle on Skype, and I'm like, dude, okay, what's going on in this cutscene? Because I need to know more.
And I'm pretty sure I've showed it to you before because the dude who does Putricide's voice, like every line in that laugh, like you knew who it was just by hearing him.
Death to the Scourge and Death to the Living. That line, that's it.
gosh.
Did you think we had forgotten?
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
See, but and that's the thing though, is that these small developer studios that tried to get in on the MMO game, they only had a limited amount of resources that they could throw at their MMO, and so they built the world, they built the infrastructure, and then they didn't have the resources.
They rely on the online and the social interaction,
the format
for you to create your own memories, which is great, and that's something that happens just naturally.
Yes,
but pad your game with something more. So while you're waiting for those to happen, there's more for you there. Yeah, absolutely.
And Square Enix was brilliant about that.
Gosh.
There's fucking
the
execution of it
model
was so good.
Was the social interaction was the big thing.
Yes.
But even that game, they're now transitioning into you can play it single player, and they've done it out of necessity, but nevertheless, it's bringing it into the modern era.
If they keep on building, like what they took from 2.0, right, and then what they've done in 3.0, right, going forward, if they keep on building on those with the story, can you imagine like some of the like I know that you didn't give 2 fucks about Harchefant, right? I know that Ysael's death, was something that actually
doesn't matter. I'm still finishing this fucking story.
Like that's something that when you said actually you didn't see that coming, that actually made you feel something, right?
Yeah.
So going forward, if they keep building this stuff up and they keep going the way that they're going, it's going to be intense.
Yeah, totally. I agree. And
don't pull punches, Yoshi.
Like, wow.
Our chat's still talking about the Wrathgate cutscene, and again, it's old. It's nothing visually spectacular, but the storytelling and the acting of it is outstanding. It's a great cutscene.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what again. I think that's a big part of what a lot of other MMOs lack. And why audiences just bail, like, and it's not like they didn't try. Like, a lot of these games have really successful launches. ESO had a really successful launch. Had a lot of people fucking playing it, and then 2-3 months, most of their people bailed.
We have someone in the chat
just turned into a ghost town.
Let's see. Someone in the chat says, "What about Destiny then? Like, why is it so successful?"
I think Destiny taps a different type of game. You're bringing your first-person shooter
Destiny
players.
is like Halo. It's in its simplest form. It feels good to shoot a gun and kill aliens.
Yeah, and plus
people will sit in front of a fucking cave and just go pop, pop, pop.
To get loot, But the other thing you have to realize is we're not saying that you have to have this in a game to be successful, but it helps.
Right. Yeah, totally. And Destiny, I mean, I know very little about Destiny, but Destiny has some really good creative design in there in terms of what you can do with like an online quest structure. I just read an article about how there's this brand new like sub quest that is really, really challenging, and they didn't tell anyone. It's not telegraphed. Like, you have to veer off a path on a dungeon.
Put in patch notes.
Yeah, no one put it in patch notes. It wasn't explicitly said. And then so like players first they found it on their own, and then they started trying it. It's really fucking challenging, and you get one of the best sniper rifles in the game out of it. And like I was like, wow, look at that! Like, they just took something that's already, I mean, like, that quest was probably already pretty cool, but they just like, look at that. Why can't we have that kind of creative thought when it goes to developing our quest structure in 14?
Well, and do you talk
that's so brilliant.
We talk about the narrative. how many other MMOs have a freaking like hour and a half long series of cutscenes like at the end of 2.5? It was an hour and a half of storytelling.
I know a lot of people will dig on that and be like, I didn't want to watch a movie, I want to play my game, blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Especially the cutscene skippers.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You can skip it.
Yeah.
At the end of an expansion, at the end of a patch.
Right.
They need that much time. Maybe not need that much time, but they really use that much time. These cutscenes aren't just there, for whatever. They
at no
really
point
have
during
some
those
shit
cutscenes
packed
did I feel like they were just killing time.
Exactly.
You're just like,
It
no, this is
felt
the narrative
rewarding.
advancing.
It felt rewarding for me, and it felt like it was finishing and wrapping something up.
Right.
I just their player base is satisfied with the product. That's why it's popular. That's why people are playing it. Yeah, Satori's absolutely right. You'd sit outside of a cave, pop aliens in the head. Like, that is really satisfying, and that's what their audience wants.
Right.
That's what and they're delivering it, and they're delivering it in a really unique way. And here we are as an audience saying, like, hey, here's stuff that we want. And I like, the thing that I'm concerned about is that I feel like Square Enix isn't delivering to the core audience. They're not. And especially making you wait 6 more weeks? 6 more weeks now?
6 more weeks. 6 more weeks.
Christ.
Yep.
Thank you so much for the call, Satori. We always enjoy having you on.
But that brings up a good point, though, about how your expectation changes as you switch genres.
Yeah.
Like, if as a RPG player primarily, as I sit down and play 14, I expect a good narrative and a good story. But the moment I pick up my Xbox controller or whatever, or PS4 controller, sit down and play Destiny, my expectation switches.
Yeah.
I don't expect to be entertained via story. I expect to get my fun out of the gameplay now.
But that's not to say you can't have it. Me and Juxta just started playing Borderlands last night. We're going to start with Borderlands 2, go to Borderlands 1 and go to Borderlands 2. And on our way here today to the studio, he was asking me, he's like, when does the story start? And I'm like... there's kind of a story here. We're vault hunters looking for this, mysterious vault. And if we were actually reading the quest text,
2 has way more of a story.
That would give us a little bit more.
Sure,
but in 2, they actually give you a main antagonist.
Yeah, they do.
Someone who's constantly antagonizing you as you go along, and something you're building towards.
Handsome Jack.
Handsome Jack, fucking amazing. Yeah,
he was a great villain. By the way.
So good,
so good.
He's a great hero.
Well,
anyway, but
Spoilers.
yeah, but there's more. There's also more ancillary characters and side characters that help build that story going forward.
Sure.
So you can still have it, but you're right. Those games are the whole point of them is to fucking shoot shit.
Your core expectation
and pick up
switches.
shinies.
Right.
Yeah, right.
When you play an RPG, like, gameplay is important, but it's not your main focus most often.
It depends
as soon as you
who you
switch
are,
to
right.
FPS, gameplay generally is going to become your main expectation. That is what's going to drive whether the game. Like, you look at something like Halo, which I think, as popular as it was among group, it was polarizing because some people hated it. And you look at it as like, when I sit down to play Halo, I get that the story is not going to be anything grandiose. I'm there for a fun multiplayer and to shoot aliens and shit.
Interesting you bring up Halo because I never liked the gameplay in 1, 2, and 3.
Sure.
But when 4 come out, I was just coming off Mass Effect, which had an amazing narrative, and Halo 4 was being heralded for like this is the best story the game has ever had. I'm like, all right, I'll try it again. Gameplay was the same, and as much of a sucker as I am for characters and narrative and story, I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Right, the gameplay is what matters in those kinds of games. Most often, that is the gold standard.
I don't know if I ever would have admitted that, but yeah, gameplay turned me off to something.
The gold standard is it fun?
Right. Well, yeah. At the end of the day, yes, that is what matters. But I mean, like, the thing and I'm gonna bring this back into where the discussion started. Like, the thing is that Destiny doesn't have to maintain a subscription. They have a community that that feels like they can tune out when it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I feel like if you're paying for a product month over month, you need to be playing it. Yeah. Right. Or to feel like you're getting your money out of it, or to feel like you're invested in it. And so, yeah, that it all has to do. It all comes back to, and it all has to do with the expectation of your audience. Right. Again, the Destiny players don't expect content in 3-month bursts because they're not paying a subscription fee. Right. If they were, and they did expect that, and then they were happy with that, and you could use that as an example. But again, he's cherry picking his fucking data, and again, I don't understand why, when all of these different gaming outlets want to decry the death of MMOs and the death of MMO subscriptions, why is Final Fantasy XIV not even a point in their conversation? Right. It's a dead spot.
It's not even a graphic they threw up in the back.
I know. Like, even going back to FF11, the gaming media has never been interested in a Final Fantasy-based MMO. They've been really interested in watching it fail.
Yeah.
They were super interested in watching it fail. But now that it's a success and it's established itself as a success, they throw, I don't know, a couple of places probably, put up fucking articles about, hey, Final Fantasy 14 is doing okay. But when they go and break down data like this,
you know what it is?
It's never part of the discussion. No. And I get annoyed at that.
The only time that you get any press about it is because they're gating content behind a new expansion.
Yeah. Even if you're just going to bring it up as, and the exception that proves the rule. I don't care if you bring it up in that light.
Isn't that important when forming your fucking argument about something?
Yeah, that's what I pointed out earlier. Like, at some point, you should have said, no, sure, there might be some stragglers like Final Fantasy 14 that are still hanging on.
Yeah.
But how long can they keep that steam going? That would have sated me.
That whole sentence would have avoided the savagery that we unleashed.
There you go, Pat. You're welcome. Put that in your next video.
God damn it. I mean, this. I mean, first of all, wow, the timing on Matt Pat releasing that video. I mean, we've been having, we've been holding this conversation back for 3 weeks, and then he puts that out. It's just
you found this last night.
Yeah,
too.
He put it up last night.
We can't not talk about it.
We can't not talk about it. Yeah.
I have a question to Destiny players, because this pay by the patch thing really interests me, and it's this: if I skip a patch, can I get the next patch after and still just be able to do that, or do I have to get caught up on patches?
That's true. If I'm
really curious about that.
Can someone answer that?
Yeah.
Can I cherry pick what I'm interested in and just play that?
Well, when they first said that, I was thinking, so if I want to start playing right now, is it just a flat, here's my $60 or whatever, or do I have to pay for all of that shit?
I know that they have a bundle going. Of course, they're going to bundle stuff.
Sure,
but I mean, you're right. Can you can you cherry pick your content like that? I'm kind of curious.
If the next patch is Barbie Island Adventure, maybe I don't want to pick that one up. Maybe I'll skip on to the next one.
All right. So, but yeah, we can't. Destiny is not exactly an analog, but I mean, he's not right. The thing is Matt Pat's not wrong that it does take a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of resources to make an MMO. It's a very expensive endeavor, and it's not for sure even an MMO with an IP, a very strong IP behind it, as he kept referencing with Star Wars: The Old Republic, that. It's not 100% that you're going to be able to make that audience convert. And I don't know how you can ignore the thing that is working.
That's not even a fair argument against MMOs. That's an argument against major titles, period.
That's
you think Call of Duty is cheap to make?
Well, but I don't know. Well, but hang on.
I think most of the code in this game already.
No. I want to defend the idea of an IP-based MMO because most of them work.
Sure.
Whereas most IP video games are pretty fucking terrible. It's not an IP in the sense that you're bringing an external IP in. It is sometimes in the case of Star Wars,
right?
But Final Fantasy is insular to the video game community.
Right. So
but
it
is still
Warcraft.
Exactly. But it is still an established IP with an established audience that you're drawing off of.
But to argue that cost is the reason, that they might shift away from MMOs, that's an argument against major game titles, not against MMOs.
Well, yeah. Now you're jumping into the Konami school of thought
there.
Go. Fucking morons. But that's and that's really the thing. I think that's kind of at the heart of it is fucking these games that have had dwindling numbers for so long and these games that come out and they fail on their face and they have an IP attached to them. Yeah, I get it. Okay, it's fun to make fun of fucking Conan whatever or Star Wars Galaxies and say, but when you compare it to non-IP MMOs, MMOs that have had to establish their narrative and their audience from the ground up, like Guild Wars.
Sure.
Guild Wars is a great example of a game that established its fucking core audience from the ground up and did well. And stood on its face.
We're going to do it differently, and that's why it worked.
And that was totally...
But Galaxies, we've mentioned Galaxies now a couple times. Let's keep in mind, Galaxies ran for a decade.
It did.
Galaxies did not fail by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, it failed.
It finished as a flaming dumpster fire.
Okay, all right.
Sure.
Fair.
But it ran strong for a long time first.
But I mean, I don't think that you can make the jump to say that an IP is a bad thing for an MMO.
I don't think so.
I think that the success rate of IP-based MMOs versus non-IP-based MMOs, I think the IP MMOs end up winning out, right?
It's the same shit you see in Hollywood. Why do you think we only see sequels? They have IPs attached to them,
right?
And they're trying they're going to work.
And it's a work, but you're guaranteed if you have an IP, you're guaranteed that a vast majority of those fans are at least going to try it.
Right. Do you want to drop $100 million on Spider-Man or on someone no one's ever heard of?
And an MMO is a long-term investment. I mean, let's be honest,
Absolutely,
it is. You know, not just financially, but in terms of time and attention. It is a long-term investment. So if you're already invested in the thing that you're, like that you could be spending a lot of time with, then yeah, like it just makes sense.
All the MMOs that I've tried, they've all been major IPs. Now, granted, Guild Wars wasn't like what Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft was, but all the MMOs I've played have been major IPs, and all of the like you said, the new ones like Aeon, Rift. Remember Tabula Rasa?
Yeah.
Never even bothered to touch those. Never had it like. Why?
Well, what are some successful like non-IP MMOs? I mean, like WildStar, kind of like they had some success, but I think that's largely failing now.
Modern day, I can't think of very
like right
many.
now, like right now that you could play you could play right now.
Eve? Okay.
Eve is it?
RuneScape?
Now. RuneScape, it's still going.
It is
it's
still right.
Going. If it's still up, I'm going to say that's success.
Yeah.
Everything else is gone to like EverQuest.
Is Rift offline?
No, Rift's online.
They're still.
That's an original. I think that's an original.
Yeah, it is.
I think
Terra.
Terra.
That's what I hear a lot about.
But they're not doing great.
Whatever
Their
happened
health
to
is
Conan?
not great.
Did Conan they shut down for like 3 or 4 months, didn't they?
I think it may still be around, but it switched hands a couple of times.
Really?
I don't know.
Heard that they shut it down.
It was such a punchline for me for so long that I couldn't even tell you, to be honest.
Now, what would you call something like Defiance? Okay,
Defiance is its own thing,
right? Because Defiance, they launched the show and the game simultaneously,
right?
And they actually put a lot of fucking money into it as well. And it is the show is still going. The show is great. I love the show, and I'm pretty sure
the show doing well. In terms of like, are people watching it?
They watch it. It just wrapped up its 3rd season, and it's
on
really
free?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Which like me, I have a coworker. Me and him talk like games and movies all the fucking time, and we pretty much said anything that runs 3 to 5 seasons. It's successful. That's a pretty successful show.
Yeah, I'll give it.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's
totally
doing well.
It's doing okay.
And I would lump as far as a show goes, and a sci-fi show.
Yeah.
I would put Defiance for me up there with Firefly, Battlestar Galactica.
Hold on.
Whoa.
As far as character goes, absolutely.
What?
Yeah.
Firefly only has 1 season, is not successful.
You fucking.
You know what?
You troll.
Fair enough.
I'm the troll guy. You troll.
Judging by those standards, you got that one. Okay.
Chat, light him up.
The greatest sabotage in the history of television.
Chat, I don't do this often, but chat, you got to fucking tear into Juxta for that one. That one was.
How much was it to mute his mic again? I've got some money.
I felt that one. I felt that. Oh, you fuck.
Story and character-wise, if you give that a shot, especially in the first season, they have some really powerful moments at the end of episodes where they're doing their little wrappy up thing, right? And they actually, what they do is they take like songs and do covers of them for the show. They have a hauntingly chilling rendition of shit. What's the name of it was used in Guardians of the Galaxy. Sweet Child or whatever.
I don't know.
Whatever that song at the end. It's fucking great, right? But yeah, and I'm pretty sure the game is still going.
Yeah.
So
but I'd love to know what the health of the game is, because it doesn't move. It doesn't move the needle in terms of people talking about it.
And I did try and look up, I looked around to see if it's still. Pretty sure it's still going. I don't know exactly what the health of it is.
Yeah.
But watching the show, they put out like little bonus codes that you can only get during the show that you put in somewhere to get like bonus stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
And apparently, what the plan was that based on your success in the game, you would get characters mentioned in the show.
Yes.
That were so.
Yeah, I wonder if that's even still a thing anymore. I mean, that was like one of their big selling points. But yeah, I would say that Defiance is actually entirely its own thing, because they were developed in tandem.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even call that an IP. That would be like, it almost felt like they were doing the show as a way to support the game.
Which I think they were. Yeah.
It's the old 80s model. Like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the cartoon comes out to sell the toy line.
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
it is.
Do they have a lot of promos that run for the game during the show?
I don't know that. Well, I download all my shit,
okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't say that too loud. Oh, okay, all right. But yeah, I mean, like if you look at the number of well-established IPs that did well. I mean, you've got Final Fantasy, obviously Warcraft, Elder Scrolls, Marvel, fucking Dark Age of Camelot. I know, like
not Star Trek.
It's not really an IP. Dark Age of Camelot's a little bit different, but it does have source material that it's drawing off of, and an audience that it's drawing.
Star
off
Wars
of.
is still going. I mean, they did just release.
Star Wars is going? Really? Star Wars?
Tor, yeah.
Oh, Tor. Oh, sorry. I was thinking Star Trek.
No, Star Trek.
Yeah.
I was like,
like E3, they just announced another new expansion, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, as much as Matt Pat wants to say that it's failing, people are fucking playing it.
Yeah. God, I mean, Neverwinter's Dungeons and Dragons. That's a built-in audience right there. I mean, it's a smart idea to build your MMO off of a pre-established audience, and like when we talk about reasons why MMOs fail, I think people just like to they go, it was just this, here's
the other thing about IPs.
Like when WildStar failed, they were like, some people were like, it's because the end game was too hardcore, but other people were just like, because nobody knew what it was.
Well, the other thing with IPs though is there's a lot more at stake there. You know? Like you.
That's true too, because you have to buy the rights to it.
Well, not just that, but people expect a certain something. For example, you can't say that IPs, all IPs succeed, because what happened with 1.0 of 14?
Yeah,
crashed and fucking burned.
Yeah. Yeah, Black Samurai said Matt Pat never said that they were failing, just evolving. Yeah, you're right.
He titled the video "The Death of the MMO."
You're right. Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
Started with a eulogy.
Yeah. He totally never said that. But no, you're right. He did say that it was evolving.
Yes.
But his point was that it was evolving towards mobile games.
I'm sorry.
That aren't even. It's a fucking mobile RTS. Fuck you.
Going from a fucking actual rig on a fucking big screen to a fucking tiny ass little phone, that is not evolution.
Can't make that jump.
It's the same thing that people are doing with fucking TV shows and movies. Like, I'll be talking about a show at work, and some people be like, oh yeah, I watched it. He says some app, and I'm like, what's that? Oh, I watched it on my phone. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my god. Well, I think that has a lot to do with personal preference and age.
I can't imagine hunched over a tiny little screen. Like, how do you absorb art that way?
Well, sure, if you're Chromecasting it to your TV or something,
this is the future. That's the evolution of MMOs.
I might watch a YouTube video on my phone, but I'm not going to sit there watching Netflix on it.
Yeah,
I do at work.
Yeah,
what a great job you have.
All right. Well, I think we've gotten all of that out of our systems. First of all, Final Fantasy XIV is doing very well in terms of its subscription base and in terms of its audience.
Despite how rough we are on it, we love it.
Yes, yeah, we do. I mean, genuinely, we do. And I think that
proceeds to tear it apart.
Our criticism of FF14 is because we want to see it get better. That's what it is. We want to see the product improve.
Yeah, I don't tear apart shit I don't like. I just fucking ignore it.
Yeah, exactly. If we thought game theorists just sucked and we hated Matt Pat and thought he sucked, we wouldn't would have
blown this off.
Yeah, hey, by the way, Matt Pat's a fucking idiot, and let's go on to the next.
I would have, exactly. Had it been any other fucking idiot, I would have gotten three sentences or 3 points into it, and I would have been like, "Fuck this! This is stupid. I'm not watching it." But because it came from Matt Pat,
how much of our show did we just dedicate to this guy?
I know it's
obviously
the whole fucking
we
thing.
Think of him. Yeah, we think highly of him.
Yeah, I do. I
respect
respect him.
You can do better.
I respect him.
If you're listening, come on the show. Talk to us.
Yeah.
Tell us what happened there and apologize.
What the fuck? No, don't apologize.
Yeah, you're right.
We never apologize.
We won't make you.
We wouldn't be happy to apologize. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, we wouldn't be? Oh, for the savagery? No, we could talk about it. I think it'd be interesting to hear his side of it because, he, like I said, like I had pointed out earlier, he's just trying to support his channel.
Yeah, he's trying to make his living.
Yeah, he's just trying to support his creative endeavor. I can't hold, I'm not that mad about it, but it is a perfect example of what the fuck is wrong. This is why people distrust the gaming media. I mean, I get that the disclosure is fully up front and that he's being completely transparent about that. I get that, but oh man,
it's still slimy.
How much would he even be able to talk about it though? If he was paid to have that opinion and then comes on, he can't he can't show hints of having a different opinion, can he? Or will that
I don't know. I don't know the contract that he signed with the fucking same people.
It's
that
like you said earlier. It's
hired
not,
Kate Upton.
It's not even that, like, you know, he's trying to make his living. We get that, but like you said earlier, it's just every time there is sponsorship in gaming media, it sucks balls.
Well, because they're certainly not going to pay someone to have an honest opinion. like that's the thing. Even if it was a good game and you're like, this is sponsored, like, people are going to be like, really, though?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, really? Is it really? Oh, man.
Tiny voices.
So yeah, I mean, when you look at the grand scheme of things, when you look at the way that MMOs have evolved and developed, and when you look at all of them fairly, Pat, you know, I don't think I don't think that MMOs are going anywhere. I don't think I think that game companies, if they want to pursue a subscription model, that they've got a big hill to climb, and that they've got to they have to deliver on the content side.
Yeah, obviously it's doable. Destiny,
it is
original, right?
It's doable. 14 is the best example of how that is doable, why that works, and why that's valid.
It's also the IP. It has the IP strength and a pretty big one behind it.
It's true, but I mean, like, I don't know how you can just totally discount it. Totally.
Oh no, you can't. You're right. You can't at all.
You can't.
So
you can't. And so for all of this, I mean, you know, like, people jumped all over me last week for, you know, being really concerned about the health of FF14 and about the health of the community. And I worry. I mean, like, I worry about the 7-week wait, and that it is going to drive people away, and the potential negative things that could come out of that. But I mean, like, you know, it's not at the point where you can totally just discount it from the fucking conversation,
and
man.
Here's the thing, because I had the same worry that in that 6-week wait, you know, there are people that are probably going to drop off and cancel their account, right? Mm-hmm. But I also have every bit of faith that when 3.0 does drop, they're all going to be eager to come back.
Yeah. I mean, I think the root of our complaints was different. I mean, because like, we just had this big wait between 2.5 and 3.0. And now we got to do it again. I think that's a fair and valid complaint as a player.
Keep in mind that 2.5 to 3.1, that time frame, that's usually what WoW has to wait from end of an expansion to the beginning of one.
Okay, all right, yeah. Okay.
But WoW is shit.
Let's count our blessings.
That's a good point to end on. I think that's a good end cap to this conversation, that, you know, yeah, there's problems with MMOs, and WoW is shit. We've known that for a long time. But that audience is not going anywhere. We're that audience. We are the people. We everyone in this chat has, you know, and so many of them have backed us up on this idea that, like, no, you take away the subscription model, you take away that game company's ability to make good content. We're paying them to make good content. So yeah, you know, like, yeah, when we bitch about having to wait for the good content that they've, you know, like, I think that's a valid complaint. Yep. So, all right, let's read some emails here. Satori,
holy shit,
Satori, we had you on. We had a huge call from you, and so your email that you wrote here, we're gonna save that,
especially because there's fucking numbers in it. Come on, man.
Come on, dude.
You're mathing us.
Oh,
love you to bits, but math.
Come on, dude. Come on.
Even has multiplication. What the fuck?
No. So did anyone want to pile on Pat? Did any of the callers want to pile on Matt? Or did we do a pretty good job of that ourselves?
We did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think we did. All right. So yeah, let's take some emails. So,
all right, I'm gonna go ahead and take the first email, as is tradition.
Yep.
Hey, LBR. After working in the video game industry for 5 years, I must warn you guys that I'm very cynical and delusional about the state of the video game industry in general.
I think this is a good email to lead off with.
First, one thing I've often seen is that when a project reaches the state of printing money, they just unstaff it because, according to management, there's no reason to waste money on a project that goes well. Staff from most successful projects are usually thrown at way late or failing projects. At the moment, I'm thinking of FF15, the FF7 remake, and FF11 Rhapsodies of Vandia.
You stumbled over that because you were like, "What? Wait, what?" I know. I totally picked up on that.
Unlike what Aniro seemed to mention in the last episode, you can't just throw more developers at a project to compensate for people taking days off. Most programmers and artists are only able to work on their own after being roughly 3 months on a said project.
Yeah, I know that.
Adding staff on an existing project requires planning and more time from the existing team to train the new guys, which I'm sure they don't have. Keep in mind that I'm in no way defending SE's stupid decisions, but I'm only stating the most common reason for these kinds of situations to happen.
Yeah, no, I get that. I totally appreciate the point, and I'm glad that you mentioned it. But yeah, I was just kind of goofing on.
And the other thing you have to remember is it's not just something that's inherent to this. All levels of business, or just when when you have a corporate entity and then you have the workers, the corporate entity sees stuff completely different.
Totally.
And so they might actually be like, just throw more numbers at it, because that's all it is to them.
Yeah, right. That's not what and I don't, for just to, in my defense, I wasn't saying that just throwing more people at it would solve the problem.
Right.
I think we were just goofing on the break at that point, and I don't know. I said something culturally insensitive. I think that's what I was going for.
This isn't an apology.
And no, it's not. It's not.
Right.
It's just an explanation. Well, you weren't here. I'm giving you exposition.
Okay, exposition for Kahlo. Yeah. Continuing the email. One thing I noticed in the recent interviews with Koji, Fox, and Soken is how often they hinted about being overworked. I'm suspecting that a lot of people at SE did one of these so common: let me take a vacation or I quit move. In my personal experience, I did this kind of thing when I had over 7 weeks worth of salary and accumulated overtime to play FF14 1.0. It was one of the worst decisions I ever made, and I still hold a grudge against SE for this.
Wow.
The real truth comes out.
Oh God. Oh, I'm so sorry. I sympathize with that so much.
He came back from his vacation, and his boss, after being forced to give this to him, was like, "So how was that game?" I don't want to fucking talk about it.
How was your vacation? Oh God! Every time he must have heard that question, must have just like dug at him. Oh, dude, I'm so sorry, man.
I'll never forget that
I'm
first
so sorry.
week when 1.0 came out. I had taken like the whole week off work, and I couldn't get on for the first 3 days.
Oh, God,
and I'm just sitting there like, just sitting there like looking at my empty wallet, like, there should be money in you, you son of a bitch.
He goes on to say, now on a totally unrelated topic, I'd like to point out that Yoshi P promised us a DPS parser to be released a bit after 2.0 in an interview 4 years ago. This was also the last time BG Forums ever got an interview with SE. Anyway, keep up the good work, LBR. I would have never survived the ARR relics without listening to your shows in the background to prevent my brain from melting because of the grind.
Oh, that's very nice. That's very complimentary.
P.S. We'd love to donate to your show, but we're struggling with our own bandwidth and hosting bills since Heaven's Ward came out, so we instead prefer to throw some of our traffic your way by promoting your show.
Oh, thanks, man.
Raggins, site admin of the Order of the Blue Garter.
Thank you, Raggins, man. That was very kind. Honestly, that's a very, very, very sweet email, and I really appreciate that. And I also really appreciate your perspective as a game developer. Like, yeah, okay, look. I mean, I know we're giving a lot of shit to the 6 week wait, and I'm definitely like, fucking, I have to work up the anger for it. There's a part of me that understands it, that these guys are working really, really hard, and when you look, and this is especially why I wanted to talk about this topic and talk about other MMOs and broaden the scope here, because I like a lot of people felt that I was being really critical, and I am being really, really critical because I want the game to succeed, and I recognize that they're at a point where in my opinion, I don't think that the break was at the right time. The timing was wrong. And I get that people get maxed to their limit and everything like that. And if that's what Yoshi P was up against or any of his team was up against, I sympathize with that. I totally sympathize with that. But you have to understand, as a commentator, as a as a critic, the 6-7 week wait, that long extended wait. I mean, it's a bad thing. It's not good. There's no part of it that's good. I understand that he's a human guy, that he's, I get that. But like, from when you look at the MMO population, when you look at the game population, when you look at people's enthusiasm for the game, 3.1 needed to happen like a week ago. No, you know what I mean?
But you know what? You look at it, and I don't care. Like, I get it. People are maxing out. But if you're getting to the point where your staff is being worked to the point where they're threatening to quit, or unless they get a vacation, your staff management has not been doing it right. You do not have enough people on your development team.
Okay, and the rumors are that they've added more people to the FF14 development team, right?
Ragan said that you can't just bring people in, and he's right.
Well, that was also in regards to like as you're trying to finish a project that has a deadline, you can't just drop them in there. But obviously, you need to hire more people for something like this that has continued upkeep.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I'm saying: when you look at the life cycle of an expansion, where is the biggest content dump? It's right at the start of it, right?
Hey, you said dump.
Thank you, Juxta.
Yeah, okay, most.
In most cases.
Not with FF14, though.
In most cases. That's where I would prefer, I think, if they're going to start giving, like if they have to give out vacations, they need to hire new people, they need time for training. If they're going to put it somewhere, I think right here is the best time, as opposed to in the middle of it where you're like, all right, here's 3 months for an update. Here's 4 months, 3 months. 7 months for an update.
See, but I don't know. Just like the timing of it is weird. See, like if it had happened around the holiday season, and they just say, "Oh, it's the holiday," like I think people would just they'd be a little bit more forgiving.
It's a little bit different though, because holiday season, that's all vacation. If they're also bringing in new blood, they do need time to get those people.
But you're right.
But the other thing to remember too about that is this isn't justification. Such like, oh, we need time to recharge. Coming back, they're also going to have more manpower, which means more quality content.
If they hired more people, I don't know that they did.
In that case, I'm okay with the 6-7 week.
If they did, if they brought more people in, but I don't know that they did. I honestly don't know that they did. I mean, we know that Square Enix shifts people around. We knew that when FF14 was in trouble. They shifted a lot of the development team from 11 to 14 to for A Realm Reborn, and so I get that that's kind of a common practice over at Square Enix. We don't know what the internal situation is over there. We don't know if anyone's been added to the team or not. Straight up, like they don't make that.
I don't
public
think they would
knowledge.
ever tell us that.
Yeah, no, they don't make that public knowledge.
Scalia, I apologize for narrowing you. What were you saying?
I'm saying I'm not talking about like such and such guy's on vacation. Let's just drop someone on the team to fill in his space.
Right.
I'm talking about more people on the team as a whole, so that if someone needs to leave or take some time off, there's other people who are already there working on the project to fill the gap.
Not to mention, if FF14 is in a good place and profits are going up and subscriptions are going up, they have money to give to more people to make more content.
Yes.
Again, that's another great sign.
But going back to Ragans' email, the trend is that once your game is solidified, you take resources away from it.
Isn't that for like a regular AAA like actual game, not an MMO? Why?
No. He has to be talking about MMO development.
Really?
Because because
it's never truly finished.
Well, but a single player game, you finish it and it's done. He's saying at the point that it becomes successful, that the company's made their money back. They go, oh well. We don't need
gravy.
We don't need to keep spending money.
You know what? A few years ago, I would have agreed with you, but with the way that stuff like Xbox Live and PSN's going now, Nika, The Witcher 2 or Witcher 3, aren't they releasing another huge content patch? It's supposed to be as big as the first game.
There's going to be two. There's going to be one in October and one at the beginning of next year, and theirs combined are supposed to be as big as the Witcher 2 game was.
So you can't necessarily say that he's just talking about MMOs, because normal games, when you ship them, they're finished, because nowadays they're not. Same thing with Mass Effect. They supported that for 2.5 years after it was released, even though it got terrible press.
Except The Witcher was a finished game, and they're just putting more because they're awesome.
So was Mass Effect.
Well, yeah, because that's just sort of the nature of games now. But I think an MMO is different, right? And I understand. Like you were saying, corporate sees it way differently. They see it as a line item, and they read it. Oh, we're in the green now. We're in the black. Okay, we don't need
as many of these numbers on it now.
Yeah. And you know what? Look at the path that 11 took. Look at the slow decline and slow death of FF11, and you can see I think that is the best example of watching a company,
something you love, die.
Watching a company say, okay, we've made the money that we intend to make on it. We're still going to kind of support it, but we're going to divert resources to another thing.
But if that's the case, aren't we completely justified in bitching? They're still taking our money every month.
Yes,
that's great.
The point.
That's great.
The
If you're gonna
point.
take my money every month, work on my fucking game.
Exactly. And that's why I don't feel bad about sitting here and getting upset about it. That's why I don't feel bad about holding Yoshi P accountable for it.
I usually disagree with you. In this case, I'm
But
right
you want
with
them to refund you like 1 week of subscription? That's silly.
But but the thing is that's why I'm criticizing and holding Yoshi P accountable and not just going, yeah, I get he's a human and
Sure.
there's a part of me that understands that, but the other part of me that has $12 hoovered out of my fucking bank account every month.
Okay, Nero
goes, wait a minute.
Nero.
Yeah.
So unsub for a fucking month till the patch comes.
Then I lose all my veteran benefits.
So that's what you're paying for.
Exactly.
But
Deep
no,
down, you know they're exploiting us.
but he's not wrong. It's like, and I'm not even sure we're mad at Yoshi P. We're mad at SE's corporate structure.
I think maybe that is what it is. Like, I feel like, maybe.
I feel like Yoshi P.
I don't know, man.
You know what Yoshi P is? In this case, he's the fucking customer service representative from Comcast who has to listen to me fucking bitch him out for 3 hours. It's not his fucking fault, and he knows it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Thank you very much, Raggins, for that email. It's a great email. Totally tied exactly in with what we were talking about.
Actually, before that, we also have a caller on the line.
Oh, yeah? All right. Who we
got? We have Bay Ifo of Hyperion on the line. She wants to, they want to weigh in on our little bet we have in here.
Okay, all right. Did Juxta slaughter your name?
Only a little.
Only a little.
I did send a pronunciation guide.
And he still
I was reading it. Abayefo.
Wow.
Abayefo. It's Swahili for the witch expert, so it's actually not a made-up bullshit name.
Oh, see, she's a witch expert.
There you go.
Hey, what's a Nero mean?
What, are you asking me?
No. Salt dune.
Or are you asking Salt Dune?
Douchebag.
I'll take it. All right. So, what would you like to talk about today?
So at the beginning of the show, we were talking about whether or not we were going to have any Hildy content in the next patch.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, Nero, but I agree with you. There's not going to be any Hildy content.
I'm pained to say it too, because I'd love to see Hildebrand content. I would honestly, genuinely love to see it. It's not because I don't like Hildebrand and I don't think he deserves to be in 3.1. I just think given what Square Enix has said about 3.1, then we're not going to get it.
Yeah, they gave us our quote happy end quote ending there at the end of the last one, and we won, and the dragons are going to be our friends again, and yay, everything is great. Oh, we lost Toshfront, I'm sorry, but hey, yay, everything else is great.
How about the fact that there must always be a Nidhogg? Everything is not happy hunky dory, and that actually pissed me off about it. Oh shit, he's a dragon. But we won!
Yeah, yay, we win! Oh, and hey, oh my god, I forgot his name.
Emmerich?
Dragoon.
Oh, the Dragoon. Oh, Estinian.
Estinian. Hey, Estinian, you were a douche canoe. This whole freaking storyline. But
now you're really a douche canoe.
Yeah. Now that we finally get to liking you, you're a dragon.
Yeah.
So that part wasn't so great.
So we need Hildebrand to take our minds off of this horrible thing that's happening and keep the mood light.
Yeah. Let's get to what's important. Should Callow and I get money if it comes out on the 0.5?
Yes, that's true.
No,
get out of here.
Get out. Shh.
Get out.
But yeah, I think that the next storyline they're going to have us. Basically the same as before A Realm Reborn, where we have to have it all tense and dark and everything because we're going to have the darkness.
Because it's not like that they have to exclusively release story, like main story quest or side story.
Yeah, they've
story
done both
quest.
before.
Yeah, we get MSQ and Mog quest or MSQ and Hildebrand.
But they always plug the Hildebrand. They always in the pre.
They got
it's a
6
secret
weeks,
this time.
dude.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
And they're building it up because everyone asked for Hildebrand. They know we want Hildebrand. They said,
They
if the
gave
demand
winky
is there,
faces.
we'll put it in. And I think if they are going to put it in 3.1, they will not tell us until the absolute last minute.
I don't know about that.
Here's the other thing.
And
Here's
they
the
will
other thing.
I
Like
don't
you
know.
said,
They hype it.
Yeah.
They hype it.
we know what we're getting, right? We're going to get main story quest. We're going to get whatever the fucking Crystal Tower shit's going to be, right?
Yeah.
We know what's coming. So we know when it's coming. So where's the big announcement?
It's coming at the Fate.
Where's that big? Oh, here you're getting
That's
this.
true.
You're getting
Yeah,
this, you're getting this, and wait. Oh, what's this?
They're gonna
What's this we're hinting at?
So what? Like, okay, maybe I don't know. Okay, actually, I'm starting to turn the corner a little bit on this because
too late.
Because Hildebrand having Hildebrand come back, that would be not a huge announcement, but it would be big enough for something like a live letter. Or like
something for them
or
to
even a live fate thing.
That's what I'm saying, especially because Hildebrand had such a great ending and people really want it. They're going to save it for a big announcement.
You know what's going to happen?
But that's what the interesting part about the bet is that like it legitimately could kind of go either way. And what we're betting on is if we can predict Square Enix's movements.
What's going to happen is they're going to have a live letter where Koji, Soken, Yoshi, somebody's going to come out and start doing the Manderville, and everyone's going to lose their fucking mind.
No. Well, it doesn't. But they don't do it. They don't do it in front. The only time they do it in front of an audience is at like a big event.
Well, people
they're
watching,
doing one at
saying
the Fate.
Everyone will lose their minds.
Maybe I don't know. The Fate maybe.
Just remember those very, very important words at the end of the Hildebrand story quest
that he will return.
Hildebrand will return.
So I'm not
Heavensward.
And that's why I'm not going as far as to say that he'll never come back.
And I love the freaking James Bond reference at the end of all the Hildebrand quests.
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
I lost my point.
Oh, good job.
It's all right. We're better off.
Thank you so much for your call today. We really appreciate it. And first time caller, new caller here to Limit Break Radio.
That's right.
Do you want to give any shout outs before we let you go?
FC Shenanigans of Hyperion, and also my Link Shell, Evocation X.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for calling Limit Break Radio today, and bringing it back around to the bet. I really do. I really, based on what we've seen in terms of what we're going to get in patch 3.1, I think we know everything that we're going to get. That's where I'm coming from. So we'll see. We'll see.
All right. This next email, we have a little bit of a problem.
Okay.
All right, first of all, it's a salty email, which makes me think that a Nero should read it. But it's fucking long as shit.
Which, no. I don't.
Right.
I really don't want to.
And you're almost as bad as I am.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't mind reading this. As much as I don't like reading two things in a row.
Yeah, we can't go back to back.
Right, so maybe we
But it
skip
is
this
almost
for a second.
It's like 3 fucking pages. I'm looking at it here. It's like 3
Holy
fucking
crap.
pages long.
Hold on. The salt levels increase, so maybe we can bounce it off each other. Like,
my
Kala
God.
read it, then the Grigori.
Dude, I don't even know, man.
Destroy the
I want
continuity.
to get back up to the top of this thing. My phone's gonna fry.
Jeez.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Can we paraphrase it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think basically what this email's all about.
No. Come on, that's not fair.
Okay, it's not.
That's not
I don't
fair.
mind reading it, but
This email could be an episode.
Hold on, guys.
I can read it, but I don't have salty voices. I can just... Wow, it's way longer than I thought it was.
This is really important to read because at the end it says "fuck #ban Juxta," so this is important. We need to read it.
No, we're skipping it. Now we're skipping it.
I will make sure that it gets on another show at some point.
Now we're skipping it. Yeah, just because he said it, now we have to skip it.
Oh,
you fucked it up.
Yeah, way to go. You did it.
Hey, the next email wants a Nero to bring the salt too.
All right. So, God,
it's also long.
Oh my God! I thought I actually thought I was on the same email still.
This is ridiculous. Why, Escalia? Why don't you take this email from, what is it? Theron Kadeen.
Wow.
Yeah.
What? I've got
this one's not
Arciela.
that long.
I've got Arciela.
Then you went too far.
Okay. This is like 3 emails that all want salt. Okay.
Telling you, God, they
love Saltiro.
Well, not just that, just the novels.
I know. You know, God,
don't complain, guys.
I'm not complaining. It's just I want to be fair. I want to be fair to the people who take the time to write these emails and give them the platform to express themselves. But when it's so long like that, I feel like we'd be giving them their whole episode.
All right, I found it. All right. Hello, Theron Kadeen of Hyperion here, and a new supporter of the show, waiting for my tags to turn up. This is in regards to the rare gear chest debate you guys had last show. For reference, I consider myself a soft or mid-core player. I don't agree with Nero's assessment that the rare item chest should be placed at the end of A4S. Only a tiny group of players has even cleared A4S, and it's not for a lack of trying. If SE were to implement a rare item chest at the end of A4S, as Nero suggests, it would not enhance my gameplay experience or motivate me to grind more.
It would for me. It would for me. It would make me go, oh. Ooh.
Well, since this game is all about a Nero.
And, well, not only that, but I mean, like, there's that very real effect that, like, like, gear lust doesn't happen until you see the other guy with it. When you see that guy, you know this guy. He's been hang on. He's been walking around your fucking server for years. You've been
His
watching.
free company house is right next to yours.
Yeah, right next. And you know he sucks. You know that he is fucking terrible. You've had the misfortune of doing fucking party finders with this guy. Okay,
like you know
that he fucking sucks.
He drives a Harley around the neighborhood.
And you know what? He sits there on Paladin wearing them and their DPS gloves.
And he sits there AFK all the fucking time, and he makes you look at the fucking gloves. That's what motivates gear lust, people. And you know what? And if you don't have a context for what the fuck I'm talking about, it's because you've only ever played 14 and you don't have a proper context for what that feels like.
Although I feel like with how hard A4 is, I'm not sure a terrible player could end up having that at this point in time.
I think Nero wants to live next door to Ned Flanders or something. At some point.
Plus, Theron Kadeen, the other thing you have to keep in mind is you're already doing Savage.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily need extra incentive to do it because you are. So you're right. It wouldn't change your gameplay experience. But Nero's point was that it might get more people to attempt it.
Right. And it would get me. It would get me back in it. I'd be an active part of it instead of going, what the fuck is the point? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I was going, like, I'm trying to figure out what motivates me, dude. I can't figure out what motivates you, but I know what motivates me. A nice, shiny piece of gear that some other asshole has to walk around. I have to watch some other asshole fucking walk around with on the server, and I go, I want that. It never happens with shit, like visual shit. That only ever happened once with, like, the Odin helm, right?
You got that.
And yeah, like, you understand what I mean? Like, that's the only item that I've ever, like, really drove after in this game. Have you ever seen me, like, motivated like that on any other thing? No.
I've never
just
seen
like,
anyone really motivated like that after a piece of gear.
Fuck it.
In this game.
You know, like, either you create the motivation yourself, but, like, for the people who can't create the motivation, like, fucking give them a little thing. There's just this little thing. Gear lust is a big motivator, guys. It really is. And I say this as a big fan of MMOs. Like, I just listed off all of the fucking different games I've played.
I wanted that Raja's ring so bad.
Right?
You never got the Raja's
ring?
No,
of course I got it, but that's what motivated me through 26 attempts at 6-4.
Exactly.
If I didn't want the Raja's ring, I would have been like, you know what, airship fight? Fuck that shit.
And so many people. How many? Was Raja's ring a fucking rare item? By any stretch of the imagination?
Nope.
And if you didn't have it, you felt incomplete as a player.
You wanted it because there was nothing better.
Exactly.
And to this day, you can still wear it.
Exactly.
Swift belt.
And that's not what I'm asking for, but I mean, just like find a way to put that emotion back in my heart, Square Enix. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if it's a chest at the end of the thing. I don't care how you do it. Find a way to put gear lust back in my heart. Find a way to make me motherfucking hate that person that's wearing that piece of gear and to make me want to fucking grind my face off to get it. Do that.
Oh my god, we have a call coming in from Square Enix.
No.
Lick my balls.
Oh! You had me there for a half second. Fuck you, you dick. Oh, that was good.
Fist bump that across the room.
Damn. I was like, no way. But, you know, like, I don't know what Matt Hilton does on his Saturday. I don't fucking know. Or
That's
Sunday.
How you do a drop, though, man.
That was so good.
That is hands down to date your best drop ever.
That was good. That was great. That was fantastic. All right,
we're still on this email.
Okay, yeah, let's continue.
Bluntly, I am not good enough to even consider unlocking A4S, let alone grind it ad nauseum for a rare chest. Personally, because of time constraints, levels of dedication, and other factors, I know that I will most likely not reach A4S until I am way overgeared, and that's okay. A4S isn't built for players like me. So I truly do not understand how placing a rare chest at the end of a practically impossible task is supposed to get me motivated. My casual static would have to become Elysium-like if I want any reasonable shot to get this chest. That's ridiculous, and it's certainly not motivation. A 5% chance chest will not convince me to turn from a mid-core player into a dedicated hardcore endgame raider. Your solution
Hold
offers...
on, no. Because here's one of the things. He's saying that by the time he can get there, he's overgeared anyway. He wouldn't need it. That's why you have to make that piece of gear good enough
Yes.
to where even if you are overgeared by
Yes.
like one tier,
Yes.
it's still fucking amazing.
Yeah, like,
Exactly.
We didn't quite fit into the show last time. That I kind of started to sway my opinion towards Nero a little bit.
For anyone who actually listened to the podcast and listened all the way past the credits, like you guys, we were able to figure out. Like, I did not express my point very clearly on the last episode, and I had said put a 240 body, and Nika's point counter to that was that's not enough, that doesn't get it done, and I totally agree with her. And so what we kind of like sussed out was like, let's like, what if there was an i300 set that you could start getting now, like let's say you need to say like the end of 3.x, the end game for that is like 300. Yeah, if that's where you're going, if the very end, if at the end of 3.5 everyone's going to be rocking i300, find a way that you can have a low output of i300 gear now, so that you're just building to the logical conclusion at the end of 3.5, and then you don't just have 2 gear sets that you have to pick between for best in slot. Now you have 3. Like, I actually think that's a good way to get it done.
I think it'll be dispersed enough where, like, if it's a really, really rare chance, like one person, couple people will have, a pair of gloves now, and the next patch someone will get a pair of boots, and it's not going to be everybody has it.
And seeing that build up, like seeing the first time you see someone with like those legs, like holy shit, there they are.
What the hell?
Exactly.
They look cool.
And then the next patch, you see somebody with the body, but you want to see them together.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be that one guy,
exactly,
like every 5 servers,
that's
getting them.
Yes.
Until you finally see like the full fucking set, you're like, no fucking way.
Yes.
That
this is
fucking
what I'm getting at.
That fucking exists.
Yes.
Holy shit, he has all of them, Nero.
What?
Dude, look at this screenshot. This guy exists.
Where is that in this game?
It's on Balmung.
I know. Where is that in this game? People did that. People did that for like a month when the Goku horse came out, but that's it. That's like there's like very little in this game that when people see it they go, "Oh, holy shit." And when they do, it's all cosmetic. It doesn't actually mean anything, right? So like you give it meaning, you give it stats. And it would become a status symbol. It would become a status piece. And you've got 2 pieces of RNG that you're working against. You've got the 5%, the super low drop rate that the chest is going to spawn anyway, and it only puts out 1 type, so it's going to be either healer gear, like if it's going to drop hands, right? Like it's either going to be healer hands, tank hands, DPS hands, or what, you know what I mean? There's
range DPS.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking variables in there. And then you can ease some of those over time if people really want that gear, and when it becomes relevant gear,
sellable
but it keeps people re-engaged in old content. If that stuff's coming out of Alex Savage 3 and 4, right? Like when we're at the point at like when we're grinding for 9 and 10 for our i300 gear, right?
People are still going to be doing
People are still going to be doing those because it's putting out relevant gear.
Yep.
Why was this so hard to understand? Or put into words, like, that's what I did. I will say that I did not express that very well, and it was because Nika helped me refine my point. Like, we continued to talk about it after the show. It's in the post show. Patreons, if you're a Patreon member, you can find the post show up at patreon.com/limitbreakradio. But yeah, we did suss that out as a part of the post show, and then included it as an added like 7-minute thing on the end of episode number 31. But yeah, I totally stand by that. I mean, fuck, I don't care.
I think if they're gonna stick with the progressive eye level system, and you want to have some kind of gear list. I mean, in most games, you have that gear that's good forever. In this game, you won't have that. So if you have a piece of gear that's good for the entire expansion, and then in the next expansion, they can, make it easier to get, make it for glamour, and then have a new piece that will be good for the entire expansion. I think that's a way to solve that problem.
Right. And I mean, glamour gives you options. Like it's really, that would be a reason to stand around and check people. Remember when that used to be a thing? Whispering Dawn in the chat says the only problem is there's no gear lust if people are glamoring over the pieces. But no, if there were super rare pieces out there, people would look for them.
Yeah, and by the way, if you got it, you wouldn't glamour over it.
Yeah, no, I mean,
you would show that shit off.
Some people might.
At least until you get the full set.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. I think most people would actually probably theme their glamour around those
It's
pieces.
a 5% drop from AS4. You're gonna glamour your gear around that piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
You would make that shit work.
It would make glamoring a little bit more interesting too, right? Like to me, this is just it's one way to get it done. But all I'm saying is, Square Enix, I need gear lust. Like that's what keeps a lot of people playing. That's what keeps people a lot of people engaged in endgame systems and stuff that they find normally frustrating. Is they have a reward out of it, and it's not just this like predetermined like, oh, I'm gonna get tokens for it because like this is what's expected of me. Put something super rare in there, and yeah, you know what? It'll make an elite class of players. But you know what?
There's already those people.
Every MMO has that. Every MMO has ever had that, and they've been fine.
And we need the gear lust because you know what? You gave away our story lust.
Exactly.
Gave that shit away for free.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, all right. Were we done with this email?
No.
There's still more, but that's pretty much.
We've hit the gist of this email.
Finish the email.
Okay, all right.
Be respectful.
Your solution offers nothing to the more than 90% of players who have accepted that A4S is out of their reach for the time being. Therefore, anything that's why I wanted to skip it. Therefore, anything that A4S contains, including your rare chest, is equally out of reach and is worthless to us. It's not that I'm lazy or need to get good. It's just a pragmatic recognition that my skills and time and commitment to this game aren't going to carry me into the top 1% of players who clear A4S, and again, that's okay. I'd rather see the rare item chest pop up in daily/weekly roulettes. That way you give everyone motivation, and if you add it to old content, you give people potentially a reason to even revisit it. It would also make dailies a bit more fun, as you know at the end of the daily you get to play the lottery basically, and who knows, maybe that lucky under-geared random who actually gets the super rare piece might even feel compelled to give Endgame a shot. Actually, he's kind of mentioning what we want it to be later down the line.
Right, yeah.
We want it to be the encouragement to go back later, not now.
I'm sorry, but if you have that random under-geared scrub in your party and he gets that gear, you're gonna fucking murder somebody.
No, there it is. Gear lust, though. There it is.
That's completely different. There is a difference between gear lust and an MMO serving as a means to commit homicide and trying to pass that off as temporary insanity in a court of law. Those are two different things.
But what he's saying there is basically we're kind of saying the same thing. We want it to be what later on you're
I don't want it to drive anyone into a psychotic rage, okay?
Yes, you do. Don't lie.
All right, good email. Thank you very much for that email, Theron. So, Nika, why don't you take this next email here?
Sure. Alrighty, this one is also kind of long.
It is. We got novels this week, guys.
Yeah. I mean, great emails. But
yeah. Fantastic. They're always fantastic emails. They're so good, but yeah, they're really long.
All right, here we go. Hi, everyone. I just listened to episode 31, and I think it was very thought-provoking and even controversial in a good way, just like Salted Earth. I wanted to add my 2 cents on a couple of topics that came up. Number 1, patch 3.1's delay. I'm disappointed with the delay of 3.12, of course, but as a longtime software developer, I'd like to address the question why they can't just throw more people at the problem. I think I was the one who said they should hire more people, but I didn't just mean throw people at it Anyway, adding lots of new members to a team all at once is risky due to the time needed to conduct interviews, time taken to train the new hires, time to find synergy with existing team members.
Yeah, we kind of went over
added logistical burden for managers, et cetera, et cetera. These are complex systems. It's not a linear problem. Like if you had 5 guys digging a ditch, you can get it done 3 times faster by adding another 10 guys with shovels. By drastically increasing the size of an existing dev team, you're almost certain to push back deadlines even more.
That's true. That's a good point. Because
perhaps this is what happened.
Well, yeah, you throw more. It's at some point it does become like too many cooks in the kitchen. You know what I mean? Like that's a very real thing. So, I feel like now because we've got 2 emails about this now, that we may have blown that off a little. Like I think people may have misunderstood where the joke was in there, like what I was goofing on.
So they didn't realize that at the beginning how much time they would need into it, and so in the initial hire they didn't, think, oh, we might need more people, or we're going to be working 80-hour weeks.
I think our point is that just like if burnout is a problem, then like Square Enix as a company, whatever they need to do should address it.
And that's not like they're saying throw more people at it to solve this problem now.
Right? Yeah,
Look,
exactly.
It's going to take 6 to 7 weeks. We know that can't be fixed.
Yeah.
But to
moving forward,
exactly. To
something they should consider.
Again. Right.
And I don't think we need to say like, okay, they have 10 people on the dev team, they need to instantly make it 20. I think start with 1 person here, 1 person there, so you don't have to take off months to train 20 new people.
Yeah. No,
get one person, make an intern, whatever. Just kind of.
Yeah, we get that.
Something to think about.
We all work in creative fields. We get that. It's
I think that a lot of listeners took us very literally.
I think
exactly where we were going with that when we said that.
Yeah. No.
All right, so they say number 2, burnout / vertical progression. I think vertical progression is good in the sense that it allows your character to keep leveling via eye level even after you hit the job's level cap. It continues to give you that feel of advancement, one of the most compelling things in any RPG, in my opinion. It's bad in the sense that once you reach that maximum eye level or the maximum that you're willing to work to, there's nothing left for you until they patch the game with better gear or a raised level cap.
Yes.
I'm not a hardcore player by any means, but I've kept myself busy capping esoterics on my astrologian while also working to level up monk for a DPS job. I think it's a lot of fun learning to DPS when I've always healed before. Might try leveling tank too when I have the time. Something I find helps for me is if I'm playing relevant content and beating dungeons with a group while advancing my current job, I have just as much fun on my level 30 as I do on a level 50 plus. If I was feeling too burned out on advancing my battle classes, some other stuff I'd look at, like they have PvP, housing, crafting, gathering, helping random lobbies, community events, gold saucer games, playing market board, running out, old content for glamour, soloing, low manning content, maxing out my retainers, beast spend dailies, chocobo leveling, etc. I'm sure it's because I played for 4 months at launch, then took a year off, but I still feel like there's so much to do in this game, even if I got sick of the existing PvE dungeon raid progression stuff. I think it's fine to take a break from playing an MMO. I've hopped around a lot myself over the years, but the quality ones always bring people back in my experience. Big thanks for all the work that you do. Love the show, and I'll definitely keep listening. Kanjo Dakini of Fairy Server. And he says, P.S. The part about being amused by streamers buying the wrong Hearthstone packs and freaking out made me laugh my ass off. I was an idiot and bought a bunch of classic packs by accident when Gnomes vs. Goblins came out.
Oh, brutal. Oh, dude, that sucks.
Can't you read, ass douche?
Well, I mean, but yeah, great email, by the way, first of all. And again, I feel like we were a little bit misunderstood when it came to the developer thing, but yeah, okay. So the burnout and vertical progression, yeah, there are clearly players of this game who can find things to do. There is a lot of content. Don't get me wrong, but I mean,
it's just it's not. It's hard to explain that
it's not real content.
Yeah, and it's different content. Not everyone likes PvP.
It's hard for Nika to explain without sounding elitist, is what she's saying.
No. And I mean, I see people saying like, oh, well, level all of your jobs. Well, I mean, if you have 1 or 2 jobs you really like, for someone to just be like, okay, well, I want to keep playing this game, but all I have to do is level jobs that I dislike, that's not real content that's going to keep people wanting to play. Like, sure, they have that stuff to do, but do they want to do it?
Hang on. Let's just take a second and again remind everyone that this is a Final Fantasy XIV podcast. So it's not like as a podcast we can fuck off and talk about Guild Wars 2 for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, we can't do that. Like, we tried to do that this episode, and we already had we tried to put Final Fantasy XIV's population size, its server size, its how many people are plugged into this game. We tried to put that into context, and people in the chat were like, "Is this what they do when there's no game content? They just talk about other games and how much they're pissed off about them." Like, what the fuck are we supposed to do as a FF14 media organization? What response are we supposed to have to that? Oh, it's fine. Yeah, we get it. They're humans. They need their time off. Whatever. We'll spend our time talking about married couples who play video games together. It's just
maybe we should read off the wiki.
Yeah, like what the we're a weekly show that's about Final Fantasy XIV, and I think that there is some legitimate criticism that can happen here.
Yeah.
And so many people are coming out as dev apologists, man. Like, yes, they're people. I get it. They're human. I like Yoshi P as a person, but you know what? As an organization, Square Enix, I have expectations out of you because I'm paying you money. That's it. That's all this is. It's not personal. Don't personalize it, guys. I'm not insulting Yoshi P. I'm criticizing the product and the decisions that they're making. It's not personal.
He's been doing a lot of that lately.
Great email. I love that email.
And one thing I want to point out, like, a lot of those things on that list, I've done.
Yeah.
Beastmen dailies, chocobo leveling, gold saucer events, crafting and gathering. No.
Check.
Yeah. So, like, we're running out of stuff to do.
I mean,
and Juxta actually does have other jobs leveled.
Yeah.
And I just cannot bring myself to level Dragoon. I just won't do it. Or Dark Knight. It's out of the docket.
He was actually the other day, like he was in my room. I was playing XCOM. He's like, man, I think I might level Dark Knight. I'm like, you haven't even unlocked it yet. He's like, I know. I'm like, look, I unlocked it by accident. Okay, don't you do it. You are the last bastion.
Hang on. Jasset in the chat says, well, tell that to Blizzard, who went 14 months without new content. And I don't think any of us are going to be rushing to Blizzard's defense. No! Fuck Blizzard.
If we were doing a WoW show, we'd be like,
oh my God!
For this.
Oh, I would be the most. If this was a WoW podcast, you would not believe. People think I'm salty now. I would be so fucking pissed with that product if I paid. I don't pay Blizzard any of my money. That's why they don't piss me off.
He's pissed.
You can't use.
I'm actually not pissed. I'm pissed about the fact that I'm not pissed.
You can't use the low quality of another product to justify the current quality of an existing product.
Absolutely, totally.
Oh, what's that? Sorry, your tire went flat. Well, if you'd have had good years, guess what? 2 of them would have popped. So count your blessings.
Yeah, right.
No,
right. Yeah, it doesn't
fix the problem.
Fucking A. All right, Juxta, this is a short one. Why don't you read this next one?
All right, we got Mordoc's Bladeborn of Genova writing in. I wrote to comment on the current incentive to raid endgame. My opinion is that they gutted the incentives from the raids. In 2.0, you had story, unique-looking gear, upgrade items, and the highest level item level and the weapon in the game, due to the fact that the raid weapons were always 5 item levels higher than the upgraded tome weapons. In 3.0, the story was given out in normal as well as the same style of gear. The raid is no longer a higher item level, and tomes can now get you the exact same item level as raid gear. So the only real incentive is the challenge, the mounts, and the early access to upgrade items. As someone who...
And the lack of other things to do. That's really it. The only reason anyone queues for Alex Normal is that there ain't shit else to do.
As fun as standing around Idleshire doing nothing is.
Yeah, totally.
As someone who is raised with mostly the same group since T4, or T7, excuse me, I always push the content. We are finding it increasingly hard to get everyone to dedicate time to raids our group raids as much less than we used to. Anyway, just my opinion, and as always, I enjoyed the show.
That was terrible. Why do we let him read stuff?
Okay, well, it's just a fucking wall of text.
They're all walls of text.
Yeah, well,
you would have done any better with any of these other emails.
Nika had a nice
mine was
formatted
paragraphed
shit.
really nicely. The one that I read.
That's how he wrote it.
Okay, well, my guy had bad sentences. Don't throw
Mordex under the bus like that. Come on.
No, that was you stumbling
That
over
was
your
you.
words. That was all you.
I read shitty as well. That was you. That was all you.
I read shitty as well.
His sentences were fine. It was just in a square shape, and that threw you off.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Who's the producer of this show? I need to speak to that guy.
That's all true, though. But the other thing you have to consider, too, is when you look back at Coil, you're looking at T1 through 13, and right now you're looking at, 1 through 4.
Yeah.
It also didn't help that Anonymous Beaver was writing all over my thing, covering my words. I'm guessing that was...
Well, you know what? Speaking of shitty reading, Nero has actually been requested to bring read the next one.
I guess so.
It's not super long, though, but it's long.
All right. Dear LBR, please read this and bring the salt hearts. Dear LBR, long-time listener since the 11 days, and I have always loved your content. I always feel like I'm writing an email in response to your episodes, but during episode 31, I had to stop mid-episode to write this email. What started as a calm discussion on the lack of content led quickly to salt and anger, and I have to call bullshit on Nika right now.
Whoa!
I think, though, where this is going is what we fleshed out just a minute ago.
Whoa! Not many people call the BS on Nika. Usually she gets the pass because she's pretty.
Yeah.
I don't want to pass for that. I think I know where this is going.
Nika.
What?
Kahlo was being facetious. You're ephemero.
I know.
Good one. That was a good one. While the idea wasn't perfectly articulated and fleshed out by Nero, I completely agree with Nero that there needs to be amazing, rare, next-tier gear in raids. Like Nero said, I think this game needs some gear lust as a status symbol and something that, frankly, isn't going to be replaced by tombstones on a treadmill. How this is implemented isn't really for a Nero or I to decide, but Nika's position on this topic really blew me away. I cannot believe her. Okay, all right. I cannot believe her. I think that's what it's supposed to be. I cannot believe her for one single second that Nika wouldn't be motivated to get the rare amazing gear. We're talking about the same Nika that always camped H&Ms in 11. Why did she do that? Oh, maybe for the higher tier NM that would pop, and maybe, just maybe, for that drop, for that super rare piece of armor, and then maybe your LS would let you lot on it, and then maybe you would actually win that lot. I mean, that's a lot. He's not wrong. That's a lot of fucking variables.
Wrong. He's not wrong. The difference was that in 11, that piece would be good forever, whereas what Nero was initially
not forever, just till Abyssia.
Okay,
and that's the point. And that's the point. Well, like, but you can't say forever, because there was a point where it did become irrelevant.
But from what I've seen people say, there are still people that are lusting after riddles, cracking clubs.
Totally. Like, yeah, there's some still stuff in there.
So
yeah,
that stuff's different. I think he goes into it more a little bit in the email in a second. But what I was originally arguing against is that Nero originally articulated that if their gear is currently 210, have a 220 piece in the chest.
No,
and
that was
I would never be motivated for a 220 piece, because literally, like, 3 weeks later, it would be outclassed.
Yeah.
If it was an end tier, like end of expansion, eye level, yeah, I could see myself lusting after that. For sure.
Yeah. Oh, and we did settle that. We did.
Yeah,
kind of,
we did.
We pulled that car back around. So, Nika, you argued against this idea so adamantly during the episode, and maybe this idea actually does sound super bad on paper. However, you need to face facts. What sounds good on paper and what pulls you into the game every day might be different. And I love that point too. You can argue with Nero all you want about this and about this is a poor idea, but you've already proved that it works because you went after this kind of armor in 11. Did you need this armor in 11? No. Or how else would you have been able to beat some content and not others? You simply wanted this armor because it is, at the end of the day, a status symbol. No one gives you a leg up on existing and future content, although stats do kind of matter in a lot of different ways. Anyone who would be quick to point out that taking down Nidhogg and besting A3 are totally different in challenge, but at the end of the day, saying that rare, amazing gear wouldn't incentivize you to work harder at Alex Savage is complete bullshit. Anyway, thanks for the great content. Arcelia Wolf of Lamia server. P.S. Let's face it, it just isn't Limit Break Radio without a Nero. Thank you. So that's so nice.
Well, right, because no, that's true. Because if we didn't have a Nero, we wouldn't have any of this gear, and nobody would know how to operate.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
no, but yeah, he has a good point. I think the reason that I argued so hardly against it is just because of the vertical progression system
and the way I didn't incentivize it properly. Look at what I did. I fucked that up.
The way he worded the email by saying rare, amazing gear, I would absolutely want it. If it was gear that I would look at and say, wow, that is the best gear. This will be the best gear for the next year in this game.
Yeah.
I would be much more likely to lust after it.
Yeah.
We're like, even when you talk about the gear in 11, sure, I didn't need it, but the thing is that gear was the best. Like, yeah, I would wear my Hauteclair around at the beginning when, like, my Link Show was, like, the only one killing Chimera, and we all had Hauteclairs, and it was awesome, but it was also the best sword if you didn't have a relic.
Yeah.
So there was another reason other than status, is that because it was the best. So if there was gear that was actually the best and not just, pretty, then yeah, I would absolutely list over it. That's true.
Yeah.
Freaking blood quizzes for how many years? Like, if you had blood quizzes, like, that was a status symbol. Even in the modern day, most people don't have blood quizzes.
Yeah, that's true, because the crimson, because you only wear them for the speed, so having the blood ones was just, and that's the thing, is I never lusted after those. Like, I got the crimson ones because that was what they were needed for, and I never cared about the HQ because it didn't serve
it didn't actually do anything purpose-wise, but if you had blood quizzes, be like, well, that guy is fucking loaded.
Right. Yeah.
If he's talking about my motivation and my reasons for doing things, like something that's just a status symbol, especially in this game that everything just keeps progressing, I wouldn't care that much.
Especially if it's just cosmetic. Like, they've tried to do this now with a couple of different things where they're just cosmetic. They don't have any stats advantage, and they try to make that the super rare glory gear, and they release it, and like, we've talked about it before, where we're like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea, makes it super limited. People are going to have to put a lot of time and attention into grinding for that if they want to glamour it, and then no one does. None of the community gives a half of a fuck about it.
Like that Valerian gear that came out, the super pretty, like that. here is awesome, and it's still expensive to have the NQ, but that's all I would care for. Like the HQ, sure, it's a status, but like I don't need the HQ to have glamour.
How many people do we see with the Mistbeard helm? We don't see anyone with it. Nobody gives a shit.
That's because it's ugly.
It's not that cool looking though.
All right, 2 more emails and then we got to get out of here. So
yeah, you know what? I just like to point out really quick. Remember that one email that I read with all those fucking words in it?
Yeah.
That dude emailed us again.
I know. We can't.
No, you're right.
I know.
But holy shit,
I know. I
don't want to read it.
No, we can't.
I know. I just want to point out
because we could
that dude.
We could potentially be airing the thoughts of a crazy person.
Well, not that, but some of these words, I swear to God, he listened to that last episode and he was like, you know what, Kyle, that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. I'm gonna step up my game.
Honest to God.
Holy fuck.
I'm starting to think that guy is a troll emailer. Like
I bet it's fucking Davey. That piece of shit.
No, I think he's trolling us because like I actually went and tried to like Google key phrases to see if it was like he copy and pasted a document and just like did a word replace on, fucking like
Yoshi P instead of Obama.
Yeah, right. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, exactly. But no. I mean like whatever that.
Thanks, Yoshi P.
I could not reference even like whatever this person. It may be a troll. I'm still thinking that it's a troll.
I like it though.
But it's a good troll, and we can have fun with it. Just not today. We're super over time today.
No, we definitely have time, and I need to practice some of these words.
Well, that too. But it's like whoever wrote that email went through the time to like that's all and original dedication. Shit. Holy God!
Like who the fuck uses a word like I don't know What?
What? I don't know who you are.
I don't know if that's a real word. If you tried to play that in Scrabble, I would call bullshit.
It's hilarious. It's both hilarious and genius.
Not to mention, he'd get like 1,000 points.
Oh my God!
Hey, wait, we're pulling the show over to the side to talk about an email that we're not going to read until later, like not on the show. So why don't we actually read an email?
What's an email I can read?
I don't know. Pick one. Escalia, do you have one ready to go? Do you have one in the cannon? Okay, go.
Hey, LBR, back again. Thanks for reading my. Oh, wait, is this that guy? No, okay.
No, thanks for his head is at the bottom.
Okay. Thanks for reading my last email. I'm glad to hear a few of you had a chuckle or two from it. So time for another since Gear Lust dominated most of the discussion in the video anyways. It actually kind of took me back to when the original Guild Wars and its expansions were still fairly new, since it was the first MMO I ever played. Because when I was playing around in the factions and Nightfall campaigns, I went to the wiki a bunch of times and saw some really goddamn cool gear with nice stats that only came out of clearing the final dungeons of the different expansions and having the crafting components for that gear in your inventory so you could access the post-final dungeon areas crafting NPC to make them at all. Holy shit, what a run-on sentence.
Wow.
That was Gear Lust. I wanted these crazy awesome looking bits of gear with slick stats. People can go on about glamour being the real endgame, that's just Juxta, and to an extent they are right, but cosmetics aren't enough for everyone, and thus I must agree with the glorious Elder Primal of Sodium, Aniro Grigori, that Gear Lust will keep people playing for whatever reason they want some particular piece of gear.
Oh, wow. I actually, I just copy and pasted a lot of these emails. I thought that I was going to get a lot of pushback on that, and it seems like people are being pretty supportive of it.
Be it stats, looks, collecting, grinding it up, and snorting it off of Gubu's ass, whatever the fuck people want it for.
That's funny.
But to take it a step further, another thing they desperately need to do is give incentive to do the level 50 content, be it tomestones or gear/upgrade tokens or shirtless Thancred or Minfilia in a bikini.
Ooh, I'm interested.
Just something to take people to make people actually care about the massive amount of content in the game they're not even bothering with anymore.
Yeah.
Glamour isn't enough of a reason for doing damn near anything at that level, and new players could likely never see any of that content at all, which is bad because they're missing out on a shitload of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like Aniro said, that needs to be the cake on the end of the stick to make the dumbass fat chocobo fly. Wait, I think I butchered that analogy, but whatever, you get what I mean.
Nah, it works. I'll let it slide. That's passable.
Also, just to add 2 cents on a different email you read, I like the idea of summoners having like primal stances instead of eggies, because then you could have cool shit like summoner swinging at someone with a book, and it makes Ifrit's arm appear to bitch slap a mob's face off with searing pain and death, as opposed to the primal action figures with imitation insta-kill action, like what we have now.
Oh my God, that's great.
Thanks for reading. You guys are awesome. Keep on kicking ass. Marcus Ragnar of Sergeant Anus. P.S. Can muting Callow be a thing instead of Juxta? They do kind of sound alike, but the big difference is that Juxta's actually funny.
Oh, fuck. You know what? How would you know who's funny and who's not? We sound the same to you anyway.
Why are you pointing at me?
Because you read the email, you dick.
Thank you so much.
The messenger.
You know what? For all you know, maybe you actually like me, Kahlo, better than Juxta, but you just don't realize it because we sound the same.
Someone in the chat was referring to you as Juxta.
So maybe I am the funny one.
No, because he knows that I do the drops.
See? For all you know, right now he's like, why is that guy talking to himself? Keep
thinking that.
All right, I got the next email.
Thank you so much for the email, Marcus Ragnar. We appreciate it. And, okay, all right.
All right, we're going to give a little love to the healers today in this email.
Final email of episode number 32.
I'm writing this in response to the Paladin that emailed last week about accuracy on healer gear. There seems to be a common misconception when it comes to how SE has intended healers to be played and how content for this game is made. First of all, SE has stated that they don't factor healer DPS in when they design content.
I don't believe that.
I don't remember if it was Yoshi or another member of the dev team, but they said that the way they come up with how content works is they take the damage from 2 tanks for DPS, do over an amount of time at the minimum item level for the content, and subtract 10 to 20%. This means that healers not having accuracy is not an oversight. So healer DPS is not factored into content. However, I'm not saying that healers can't or shouldn't DPS.
I don't know about
Far
that.
from it. What it does mean is that any DPS your healers can put out is a bonus, regardless of the amount. This also means that it gives groups a bit of leeway if they can utilize this bonus, making them able to beat content while they are still technically undergeared for it.
Now, with the DPS check for A1, there is no way they didn't factor it.
bullshit.
No way.
Healers, you need to DPS.
Yeah.
Do your job!
Seriously.
As a main scholar, I, for one, would cringe if they started giving us accuracy on gear. Accuracy does nothing to help healing, which is surprisingly what the healer's primary job is.
Do your job!
Even with no accuracy on my gear, I was still pumping out 200 plus more DPS than the Paladin I had in my last static for Alex during phase 1 of the Oppressor. I was easily at 700, 750, while he was barely at 500.
Yep, that's how it works. That's how it works.
Hey, Paladins.
Do your job!
Considering that average DPS numbers for actual DPS are about 1,000 to 1,200, depending on class, and warriors can hit 1,000 as well, the fact that a healer is getting close to that is insane. If I had the accuracy, I would probably be able to hit 1,000 easy. Hell, in A2 normal, I'd have hit 950 and topped out the DPS on the fight if there was no summoner. But that might be partly because melee DPS seem to be allergic to AoE rotations. The healer's primary job is to heal. That's it.
Do your job!
I love that. I'm sorry. I love that one. It's just so angry.
Anything more than that they can bring to the fight is nice, but there is a reason that they aren't getting any accuracy. When I'm on other jobs, I honestly don't care what the healer does as long as nobody dies. Yes, it's nice if they throw out some damage when they can, but I've lost count of the times I've died on Warrior after use all my self-heals and cooldowns because the cleric was in clerics and not paying attention to my HP. To reiterate, I'm not saying healers can't or shouldn't DPS, but that it shouldn't be expected. It should be down to the healer to decide if they are comfortable with the fight, the tanks, and their own skill. If you need the healer DPS to meet a DPS check, then by SE's standards, you are under-geared for that fight and should consider yourself lucky to have a competent healer. If your healer as a player can't balance healing and DPS when you need them to, maybe help them with it. Make up the DPS elsewhere. Wait until you get better geared as a group or replace them with someone who can. I imagine the same applies to paladins as well. If you're wiping at 1% constantly with a paladin, then perhaps the group isn't as geared as it needs to be for the fight. I'm positive that SE took paladins' lesser damage into account when making the fights, but the community has decided to shit on the class because of how they approach the game.
Because there's no trade-off. There's no they don't have a trade-off. They just have lower DPS.
You had to make a reason to trade off the DPS.
And I think we've gone, Nika, you expressed that perfectly when we first started talking about this.
Guys, that isn't to say that SE doesn't need to do anything in regards to paladins.
Okay, all right.
But they had to have taken it into account. I agree that hard DPS checks and gear walls are fake difficulty, but that is why this game, or that is what this game is currently built around. I really hope SE innovates soon, because if we just keep the same going into 4.0, then I'm probably going to be bored with the game and unsub.
Yeah,
Hell, I already had a hard time coming up with a reason or motivation to log in, and I thought about taking a break and checking out what's been going on in 11 since I stopped playing it. I know many disagree with my stance, but if you disagree with me, then you disagree with SE and how they have envisioned the game to be played.
Yes, I'm not.
Yeah,
It's okay to disagree with SE.
I'm not uncomfortable with disagreeing with SE. I don't think that I mean, the fact that this game receives development is just proof that they don't know. Like, it changes. Shit changes all the fucking time. They've got to keep up with it just like we've got to keep up with it. It's a synergy. It's not like, like, oh, I mean, I feel like it's like you decided to defy SE God and you will go to SE hell. Like, no, come on.
You can also disagree with people that you like. Like, we're not... just because we disagree with them with something doesn't mean we hate them.
And it's not, and clearly we're not calling for people to give up their subs. That's the last thing. Like, if anything, we're encouraging people to hang on. But I get it. You know what? Like okay. Here's the thing. Okay, we in a form in kind of a way. Limit Break Radio is it's a symbiotic product with FF14, and our show does well if FF14 does well. So we're not going to come out and totally trash the motherfucker the whole time. Like, we're not going to like be wall to wall. You shouldn't buy this game. Like, that has never permeated any part of our discussion. At any time. We've never said, don't buy this game, don't sub to it, stop paying your subs, unsub. We've never encouraged our audience to do any of that. But you know what? There's this feeling out there that other people have, that other players have, where they're frustrated, they're sick of the delays, they're tired of having to wait for shit, and they're tired of doing the same thing over and over again. And guess what? I'm one of you. And for me to hold that back, and for me to go, yeah, just wait, guys, you got to understand from Square Enix's point of view that, they're really tired, and they're people too, and that just comes off as making excuses for them. They're a company. I'm criticizing a company. It's not. This is the second time I've had to go over this. It's not fucking personal, man.
Yeah, and we're not going to be happy about that kind of thing either.
Yeah, no, like we're not gonna. Yeah, we're not gonna.
If 14 goes under, our show's going to be really hard to do.
We don't enjoy that we feel the need to criticize them. We wish we didn't have to.
Yeah, totally. And to come out and say, oh, but guys, just hold on, it's gonna be okay. That's disingenuous. I don't want to do that. I can't do that. We did that in 11. We did that for the 11 version of LBR all the time, because we figured if this game dies, our product dies too. And you know what? That's not wrong. That's totally accurate. It's 110% accurate. But sitting around blowing this game for the entirety of your show doesn't make for a better game, doesn't make for a better community. What did we get out of it for 11? What did we get out of it?
Gives you a neck ache too.
I'd rather be honest, and like, some people are gonna agree with me in this community, some people aren't, but I'd rather be honest about how this shit makes me feel than trying to guide your feelings. I don't want to guide your feelings, guys. I'm not asking you guys to rise up behind me and become a fucking, you all become a cynical force in FF14. No, that's not what I'm asking for. That's not the point of the show. But if we came out here and we apologized for Square Enix for 3 hours, I think that there's a serious, part of the community would hear that and go, oh, this is fucking bullshit.
Well, if we're gonna apologize to SE for 3 hours, then the check better clear.
Right?
All right, so they go on to say, fortunately, it gives us as a player base a bit more freedom than we otherwise would have. With this game restricted to the Holy Trinity for combat, we as players honestly don't have many options with how we can do things, and hard DPS checks certainly don't help in that regard. One of the reasons I play a healer as my main is that I feel healers have the most freedom when it comes to how they can play, and that personal skill matters a lot more than how good you can hammer out your rotation. Okay, that got a little long. I was originally going to email my theory crafting and how I think Red Mage would work in 14, but that guy's email made me a little ranty. Maybe next time. And this comes from Dimas Telemon from Leviathan.
Thank you so much for that email. That was a great email. But yeah, there are plenty of other podcasts that will sit around and just blow whatever they're talking about endlessly, and I've never liked that. It's like a morning talk show that, they just give you schlocky, boring garbage, like, oh, look what was on the front page of the Inquirer. You know what I mean? Like, it's like radio shows that do that. And I've always been far more attracted to radio shows where there are guys sitting behind the mics that are just as pissed off to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning as you are to be in your car going to work. That resonates with someone. That resonates with people. I mean, like, I get it that I can be kind of an angry, animated guy and that turns some people off, and I'm fine with that. That's okay. You don't need to agree with everything I say. You don't need to hold the same opinions that I do. That's not a precondition of listening to the show. But you know what? Sitting around and blowing Square Enix and trying to come up with apologies for them for why they're waiting 6 weeks to deliver content, I'm not about that. I'm not going to do that. Sorry. Go find
You apologized.
Go find another. Go find another fucking show that'll do that, because there's plenty of them. So we're not going to do it. All right. Thank you guys so much for your emails. That being said,
he just switches. He's like, by the way,
thank you guys.
Thank you for emailing us in.
Thank you guys so much for your emails. It was really nice. It was very.
So nice.
If you could see like the change in him physically, like just before that, there was like this twinge of pain too.
When the thing is, like, people may see it because we're doing Final Encounter Cast, and I'm about to get really animated on that.
Oh boy!
So by the way, if you're listening to Limit Break Radio live right now on Twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio, stick around. Final Encounter Cast is coming up next. That's going to start at about 6 p.m. I'm going to be very animated, talking a lot about Metal Gear Solid 5 today. We got a lot to talk. Oh my God, we got a lot to talk about.
Remember Kahlo during FF7 remake? Anir was about to unleash his beast.
Get ready.
It may be way bigger. I don't know.
Probably because I've had what 10 years of you guys shoving these shivs and spears into me to create like a hardened shell against it.
Yeah.
Whereas yours is still fresh.
Mine is still fresh.
But we're gonna be Nero unleashes his beast, I'm leaving. I'm not putting up with that.
All right, but that's coming up next here live on Twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. If you're listening on the podcast, Final Encounter Cast came out yesterday. You can find that at its website, finalencountercast.com. Thank you guys so much again for your emails, for your calls. This has been a really interesting discussion. I'm just going to go ahead and thank Matt Pat because I'm going to assume that he's not going to try to sue us or take down this video because he's mad about the criticism, and hopefully he takes it in stride. Hopefully he takes some of that criticism, takes it into account, and is able to make a better product, or is at least able to shill things better, because that was really embarrassing. Honestly, as a fan, it's coming from a fan, a diehard fan, that was really embarrassing, and it was really hard to watch. And I took no pleasure, Matt. I took no pleasure in taking you to task on air.
You know what would really make my day is if he comes out to say, well, you know what? I took no pleasure in making it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that would
just make everything better.
It would totally smooth that whole thing over. But
how quickly would all wounds be healed?
But anyway, yeah, shout out to Matt Pat and his channel Game Theory.
It's usually good.
It's usually really good. Otherwise, besides the one thing that we picked apart, he has great fucking content over there. I don't mean to sound like he's a total, I didn't mean to rip him apart like that. Like, I'm a big fan. I'm genuinely a big fan of what he does. So please go check that out. He's got a big presence on YouTube. Just look up Game Theory. I think he's part of The Escapist now too. I'm not sure, but
I think that's extra credits.
No, I don't think that is. I think it is Game Theory. But anyway, I don't. It doesn't matter. We're out of here. Thank you guys so much for your emails, for your calls, for your support over at Patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. This doesn't happen without you guys, and that's very serious. It really, legitimately, this doesn't happen without your support. So if you would like to support Limit Break Radio, head on over to Patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. That's going to do it for us. I'd like to thank our full crew this week: Nika Kayanian, Ascalia Ryumasa, Juxtaposition, and Kahlo Landis. I'm Aniro Grigori. Keep listening. Limit Break Radio is a production of LimitBreakRadio.com and Bender Media Productions. Today's episode was produced by Kahlo Landis and Aniro Grigori. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. Funding for Limit Break Radio is provided by Miri Kennett, Scry De La Rosa, Zurian Urexin, Satori Komeji, Karkwin Albarn, Rajan Nelka, and fellow Limit Break Radio listeners. To support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. Opening music in this episode from Daniel Lambie. Listen to Man with the Machine Gun and other great tracks at facebook.com/Daniel Lambie Metal Gamer. Closing music in this episode provided by Husky by the Geek. Listen to this and other great Final Fantasy XIV and video game rock covers and original music at facebook.com/Husky by the Geek. In-game graphics for Limit Break Radio's Twitch stream are provided by Diamond Multimedia. Check out their line of AMD graphics cards and other hardware at diamondmm.com. Limit Break Radio is solely responsible for its content.